3 games into the new season, Chris Chester sacked as Rovers coach. Their injury crisis hasn't helped. Just 18 fit players last weekend, but 3 straight defeats has proved too much, and Willie Poaching takes over now. A good thing then that St Helens have an awful record in this corner of East Yorkshire. Just 1 Super League win. They've lost each of the last 3 visits here. Talk about pressure. Kieran Cunningham must pick his men up after the World Club Series rout by the Roosters. So high stakes all round, a new start for Rovers and a change of fortunes for Saints. They don't particularly like this part of the world though, do they? And the last time there was a change of coach immediately before St Helens arrived, the Rovers lifted and won 40 points to 10 against the Saints. Rovers winless after 3. Saints have conceded 15 tries in the last 2 games. 80 minutes on the way for 2 sides to right some wrongs. Let's take a check on the team lineups for you then. And the Rovers have got Cockayne at full back. Then it's CO, Salter, Thornley and Shaw. Maurice Blair is the man who's partnering Albert Kelly. The forward pack sees Dane Tilts, George Lawler and Adam Walker. In the front row, Chris Clarkson, Graham Horn. Second row, Mitch Allgood is the loose forward. And on the substitutes bench tonight for Hull KR, James Green, James Greenwood, Stephen Holker and Robert Mulhern, and the coach, caretaker coach, Willie Poaching. Now the Saints change at full-back. Shannon McDonnell comes in for Jack Owens. It's Tommy Makinson. Matty Dawson plays in the centres alongside Dominique Perrault. Adam Swift is on the other wing. Jordan Turner reverts back to stand off alongside Luke Walsh. And at the forward pack, Andre Savelio, Travis Burns and Alex Walmsley. Burns starts at hooker again. Televe and John Wilkin, who skippers aside, and Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook, LNS, is the loose forward. And what a bench Kieran Cunningham, the coach, has here. James Roby, Kyle Amor, Lamatazi and Luke Thompson. Well, can they win an away game against Hull Kingston Rovers for the first time since their 2008 Challenge Cup quarter-final win en route to Wembley that year? Hull KR, they drew here in round 1 against Castleford, lost at Warrington, then against Wakefield here last weekend. But Chris Chester's departure isn't the fastest at the start of a campaign. In 2000, the great Ellery Hanley, having won the grand final the previous year, he left St Helens 1 round in March. So Graham Horn is the Hull Kingston Rovers coach. On the left, John Wilkin, the man who joins John Wells at the touchscreen after the match. He leads the Saints out. Crucial, critical, you can use all of those adjectives for this game. It's all down to the players though now, Phil.
It certainly is, and I'm sure they're going to entertain us. Last night's game was a brilliant one. Last year's game between these two was a classic 24-22 for the home side. I've just got a sense that tonight could be equally as exciting and possibly surprising. The home supporters are desperate, absolutely desperate for a good game and a great win. They're keeping their fingers crossed, but they'll have to be good to beat this Saints outfit.
Bitterly cold night in East Yorkshire. The wind whistles across the North Sea here, and here's the Hull Kingston Rovers answer to last night's light show for the Black and Whites. St Helens, how do they approach this? How do they approach this? They won their first Super League visit in 2007 by 40 points to 0, 7 tries. Among the scorers, Kieran Cunningham and Paul Wellens. They're not there tonight though. It's the 2016 version of Saints who've got to go home tonight with the bacon.
One of the things that you have to credit St Helens are being very good at is bouncing back and recovering after heavy defeats. In recent seasons, all teams lose big games now and again, but when they've lost them, they've recovered. Now, 2 weeks in a row. They lost at Salford, they were terrible. They were hammered by the Roosters. It's very, very rare to see 3 in a row, but that's the challenge that the home side are faced with, and one that they're determined here to prove they're good enough to be a top 8 side.
One of the new faces this year at Hull KR, Chris Clarkson, and some familiar faces as well, of course. Well, there is a light show going on at Warrington as well tonight, just before they kick off. Warrington against Wakefield, and we will be, of course, keeping you posted on the progress of that game in the company of Barry McDermott tonight. But it's Hull Kingston Rovers against Saints, which is the main event. Can it be half as good as last night across the city? Let us hope so. And there is a very early touch of the football for the Saints for Shannon McDonnell on his return. He got the ball away, and that was Andre Savelio. And big Alex Walmsley takes the ball forward again. He carried it forward bravely against the Roosters last week. He got an enormous hit early on in the match. Other people said they doubt if he had ever been hit quite as hard as he was, but bravely he battled on, and here he comes again, the big man.
Well, every team that plays St Helens know that they have to stop the big man. If you can stop Alex Walmsley, it's the first task done, and then they're going to stop the rest. They have done. That's a great start. The first 5 tackles, they contain their opponents to less than 30 metres from their own line. And now John Wilkin, no, Jordan Turner attempts to kick as long as he possibly can. And
he finds the ground as well, and it's hops and skips and turns Ben Cockayne around, and he'll have to run it away 5 metres from his own goal line. Good run though from Ben Cockayne for all of that. Big doubt about him earlier on today. Rumours around the city that he had picked up a broken bone in his hand last week, but looks like he's fit to play.
Well, this is one of my favourite players. Ken Seo just picked it up. He's playing on the right wing tonight. I hope we get to see him with his hands on the ball as often as possible. We really add some excitement to this Hull KR outfit.
Big Dane Tilts will take it forward, 6'6" tall, 17.5 stones. And Rovers looking to get St Helens on the back foot if they possibly can. They're right on the halfway line now with Joel Good. He plays the ball, and Albert Kelly with the kick right down the middle of the field. Oh, and that bounces kindly off the post paddings into the arms of Tommy Makinson.
Well, that's about as good as Willie Porchin could hope for his first kick, isn't it? Bouncing off the upright, trapping their opponents 10 metres from the line, and seeing again here if they can repeatedly perform the right defensive duties in the middle of the field and stop any goal forward from the Saints.
It's Jordan Turner again. He's the man that Kieran Cunningham selected right at the start of the season to partner Luke Walsh at the standoff half roll. And the man, of course, who wears the number 6, there he is, Travis Burns, once upon a time of Hull Kingston Rovers. He's filling in now at hooker and dummy half. Burns is there again as Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook plays the ball to him. You get it wide, Wilkin to Dawson. Dawson then finds Adam Swift. Swift, good ball back on the inside to Wilkin. Good challenge required, good challenge came in from Liam Salter.
Great rugby, both in attack and defence. The Saints electing to put some doubt in the Rovers' minds here. When it gets to the last play, they're not always going to kick the ball here.
Well, Barry McDermott is going to keep us posted on what's happening here at Warrington. Barry?
Well, a breakaway try for the Wolves. It's Ben Curry who races the length of the pitch. The Warrington Wolves actually kicked off the game, kicked out on the full. Wakefield first possession, they dropped it, and that was Warrington's response. 4-0 kick to come.
First blood then to Tony Smith's Warrington against his brother Brian Smith's Wakefield. Warrington with an early score. Here in East Hull, it is 0-0. Great movement behind the ball. This is Cockayne. Oh, and he's caught round the shoulders, and so play on is the opinion of the referee, and they've got the ball out to Adam Swift. Now he's very quick. It's Adam Swift. He's too quick for Graham Hall. Is he too quick for Albert Kelly? No, yes, no, no, yes. Great ball inside, and here comes the first try from Shannon McDonnell. Now then, the referee is asking the touch judge on this near side about the tackle up the other end. I think they're going to have a look at it. I think they're going to have a look.
Well, we had the wide to west try, we've had the yes, no, yes, no, yes, no try. Or no try.
Well, it might be a try, yes or no. I think they're looking for the high shot that dislodged the ball at the other end for Hull Kingston Rovers, Stuart. Because it's all in the one movement, this.
Yeah, well, it'll certainly be a difficult call for the video referee. You can see there's certainly contact is on the shoulder. I think the tackle's fine. The referee thought at the time, as did the touch judge, that this was okay. I think they're absolutely right there. There's no contact, he loses the ball. Looking at the first contact, is clearly on the shoulder. It hits the shoulder, and looks like it goes over the top of his head.
I thought you told me in the past if there is any contact with the head, no matter where it originates.
That's what I'm looking for. I think it's gone over the top of his head.
You've seen no contact with the head?
I don't think there's any contact with the head there.
And having a look now at the run from Swift and everything else, and the decision on the field, remember, is a try. Here it was, yes, no, no, yes, yes. Great ball, there it was. McDonald will touch down. Looks like this is given the green light.
Well, I felt it was that way at the time, and this, you know, I did feel that having gone all that way, they should have gone with their own gut reaction, but it will be confirmed.
It is confirmed, the try is given. What a comeback for Shannon McDonald. This is his first match since June. He snapped his Achilles against Castleford then, and up against his former club.
Well, we've got to give Jordan Turner a massive amount of credit here to work back. OK, Alex Walmsley stops him, but it's Turner's tackle that forces the ball free. Quick thinking from Dawson. Nice work again from the fullback. And once he releases Swift, well, many players will just relax thinking he's going to make it. Kelly traps him back, and it's good work by the fullback. You say he's been out since June, but he's got the first 4 points in the first 4 minutes, and the Saints will be delighted to get the first scores on the board.
Yes, just the start that St Helens needed. And Walsh, he adds the extras on as well for good measure. So Hulkingston Rovers 0 and St Helens 6.
A lot of time left to go in this game to see if Shannon McDonald will have a big influence. He certainly finishes off Adam Swift's break. The full-back position, Phil referred to it pre-game, is such an important position. It's an outlet for the half-backs when they're ball playing. You have somebody who's talented at the end of the line to pass the ball on and put plays on. I think McDonald can bring that to the game. Whether or not he does tonight, we wait and see, but it has been a problem area for St Helens. Jack Owens in his first few games for the club hasn't been successful.
Great response though from Rovers, trapping the man who collected the deep kick-off in goal.
Well, that is commitment plus, isn't it? You'd have to criticise the Saints. They didn't get quick enough to the ball. Eventually Savelio gets it, and the 5 men force him back in goal. Mitch Allgood probably deserves the most credit. This team get the ball here and get to strike back possibly. When we watched them play last week against Wakefield, their attacking situations like this wasn't particularly good. The timing of the runs weren't good, strong. There was no conviction in any of the play. Has that been altered in a 7-day period?
So here they come again. Albert Kelly setting them off on their way. Adam Walker. Lawler is the man at dummy half. He misses out Dane Tilse. Solid defence though on show here from Alex Walmsley to defend a possible run from Allgood. Short pass from Cockayne. Saints muscling up now themselves in defence down that right-hand side. Kelly gets the ball wide and into the arms of Liam Salter once again. Harassing him though, Matty Dawson and Luke Walsh. Kelly once again drops it off to big Dane Tilts. Stands, and then goes down in the tackle. Just about legal enough. Kelly once more, stabs the ball through, looking for Graham Horn. The ball bobbles around all over the place and St Helens have got it back.
Well, Albert Kelly attempted to outfox the Saints by switching from the open side. He came over to this side of the field, grubbered the ball kicked through, but the Saints trapped it. And they've been pretty relieved here now, I think, to have withstood that after being trapped in goal. They've survived the scare and get to work away from their own line. But they're meeting some very, very committed defence. Not many people can stop Alex Walmsley as well as the Rovers are doing right now.
4 tackles gone. They're midway inside their own half of the field, the Saints, as Louis McCarthy Scarsbrook goes down on tackle number 4, appealing for a penalty, not forthcoming from Phil Bentham. And the ball is ferried to Jordan Turner. And it's a good kick from Turner. Right over the top of the defender, who collects it and brings it out of defence, but only as far as those 2 St Helens tackles. Decent run though for all of that from Ryan Shaw. He's 25 tomorrow.
Well, he has done well, hasn't he? It was a massive kick from Jordan Turner to get them out of their own half. I mean, they passed it wide and cleared it out. But one of Rovers' problems last week was conceding too many penalties. The Saints have helped them out of their own half here now with 1.
Probably want to tidy up the end of their sets as well. If they do get to an attacking kick, you might look to to target Ken Seo. He's very good in the air. He'll be playing on the right wing, as you said before, for Hull Kingston Rovers. Throw a few up to Swift and see if he's able to compete with Seo in the air would be my tip for the end of this set.
A word about Ryan Shaw, birthday boy tomorrow. He made his substitute debut last week. This is his full debut. This is a great little run, this.
Lawler again, you know what, he's a substitute hooker really, don't forget. Lunt and Budebza out at the moment. He's doing well, trying his best. As Kelly takes it to the line.
Takes it to the line and is grounded by a good tackle from Travis Burns. Big Dane Tilts had to bend his back then. Here is Walker again. He gets away from Lou McCarthy Scarsbrook, flicks the pass away. Impressive defence from St Helens on Ian Thornley. Now Cockayne. Cockayne dabs it to the in-goal area. Oh, knock on! Touchdown by Cockayne! This should be given, but I think once again it's going up to the video referee.
Well, they've tested this Saints defence on the left, on the right. They've run hard in the middle, and eventually Ben Cockayne's done something. He's decided to take it on himself, run at the line. It's a very good kick because it's a soft kick. It's going to stay in the in-goal area. Tries to put it between the two men, and it appears from the first view there's an initial knock-on from St Helens, which is allowed to play on until Hull Kingston Rovers' response. He can't be offside because he kicks it himself.
James Child, the video referee, Stuart.
Yes, well, Ben Cockayne's following his own kick through. I think first question is the ball grounded by St Helens? Certainly not on that occasion. Does Ben Cockayne get his hand to it? He misses it the first time, and he's certainly got his hand down on the ball on the second occasion.
Does McDonald get it down, though, before Cockayne? That's the question.
It is a question, but I think Cockayne gets his hand just before McDonald. So we'll see here. There it is. Try score.
Looks like they've struck back then, Rovers. And it all came about really from the pressure they put on from the kickoff, remember. It was a great chase from the kickoff. And Ben Cockayne comes up with his first try of the season. 70th try for Hull KR for Ben Cockayne. Once upon a time, he played for the England Knights. Good response from the Robins.
Well, do you know what? This is the culmination of a sequence of play that good teams do. They're awarded a penalty in their own half, they kick long, they work through the set, and they put in a difficult, awkward kick low on the last tackle that the opponents can't deal with, and they're quick enough to convert into points. That's a very strong 2-minute period for Hull KR. They'll be pleased with that if this goes over.
And it does go over, courtesy of Ryan Shaw. He missed a kick at goal last week against Wakefield. Mind you, that was nothing new. They scored 3 and didn't convert any of them. But look at this. This was tremendous work from Hull KR, wasn't it?
And I think that's what Willie Poaching spoke about, Eddie, pre-game. He said, we can't do a whole lot different. We haven't got new personnel. We've got to bring enthusiasm to the game, something that maybe has been missing in their performances for the last few games. They brought it in those 2 minutes, and they got their just desserts.
Yes, they did get their just desserts, absolutely. It's 6-all here, Hull Kingston Rovers against St Helens. We're in the 11th minute of this first half. This, of course, the third home fixture out of the first 4 rounds for Hull KR. They don't want to be cast adrift and without a win here after a start like that. Well, more action for Barry to tell us about at Warrington.
Well, you left us at 6-0. It's now gone up to 12-0. Kevin Penny getting over with a try. Wonderful bit of patience from Warrington. They had a bit of defending to do, and they look ready to work tonight, the Wolves.
Yes, they do. And they're certainly working hard here, these two sides. And mentioning the fact that Hull Kingston Rovers have got this dream start, really, with the third home fixture. Will it be a dream, or will it come back to haunt them later on in the campaign when they're having to travel a bit? We'll have to wait and see. But the next fixtures for them, Widnes away, and then Huddersfield at home. Graham Horn, that's a good run.
Well, nice play. They have got Adam Walker, the prop forward, who's one of the few props who can pass as well as he does in the line. Takes it forward and releases Albert Kelly. That's a difficult kick that nobody really fancies.
Whoa! Makinson held it, and he had the St Helens supporters holding their breath as well.
Again, when you have to kick the ball to opponents, which you do at the end of your set of 6 tackles, or you do if you don't want to run it, then make it as awkward as possible. They've done low ones on the floor that can't be dealt with. That's a high one in the air. And they have got their opponents. This is a good 10-minute period there for Hull KR. They've got to be content with how they've played so far.
Hint maybe of a forward pass by St Helens in that last move. This, though, is Amor to his feet, plays it to Burns. Run from Burns. Can be quite dangerous, can't he, Travis Burns? And will want a good game here tonight against the place where he started his British career.
Well, again, it's little things that help you to win the games. Chris Clarkson's pressure on Luke Walsh meant the kick wasn't as good as he wanted, and the Rovers get the ball probably 20 metres away from their own line more than they would have done on a better kick from Walsh.
Thornley goes down, second tackle. Oops, over the head of one. Kane helps it into the centre of the field. Yeah, that was Ken Seo, I thought it was. He's drifting in off the wing and every opportunity. And the young hooker, George Lawler, was at dummy half.
This is Walker. Always looks for a late offload with 2 or 3 men around him, and if I was critical of the Hull KR side so far this season, they've not complemented that skill by getting men around him when that's on.
That's a good kick from Maurice Blair, but watched perfectly by Tommy Makinson again. Some more action at Warrington, Barry.
Wakefield getting on the score sheet, and they've had possession, they've had large parts of possession. It's been simple mistakes that have let them down, but that's a lovely bit of support play from Jacob Miller. Craig Hall goes in just to the left side. 12-4, Eddie.
12-4 there, 40-20 possibility here for Luke Walsh, and he's got one, I think. He is taking the slaps on the back, and it is head and feet to Saints.
Well, his last kick was a poor one on the far side of the field. He's made this one count. No, his side neither. It's the first time we've been playing almost for 15 minutes that they've been in a good attacking position. They've had to defend, they've had to work hard. It's a question here now. Kieran Cunningham, the coach, said before the match he was critical of their attack in recent games. This is a good test situation to see with 6 players, has it improved any?
You're right, it's a brilliant opportunity, Phil, to see Luke Walsh, to see Shannon McDonald, that problem area in fullback. Travis Burns will have to be heavily involved in anything good that they do now, but their attack has been well off. Still playing around with those combinations. Turner is back at 6 now. Let's see what they've got.
Wakefield got the conversion, 12-6 there at the Halliwell Jones here at the KC Lightstream. All square. 6-all. Burns again, the dummy half. Looking for the runners, it's Amor. Amor tries to poke his nose through the defensive line, goes down. Burns directing the operations at dummy half, 9 metres away from the line. Here is Luke Walsh. Walston gets it away to Turner. Wilkin is on the run. And the former Hull Kingston Rovers star from many, many years ago. He began his career here, John Wilkin. This is Alex Walmsley. They do a good job, but he gets the hands free and he plonks it down on the deck. He nearly took everybody by surprise then, including his own teammates. Shannon McDonald the first to react. Wrestled to the ground by Cockayne. Walsh, back on the inside, it comes to Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook. And 4 of them there to bring him down underneath the shadow of those Rovers posts. And a penalty because somebody was trying to pinch the ball.
Well, St Helens asked many questions, didn't they, of the defence? They really did have players running into gaps, offloading the ball. They tested what Hull KR had, and they're going to test it for another 6 plays.
Oh, now then, has he scored here, John Wilkin? Now the ball has come loose. I think the referee will wait till the tackle, and then he will hand it upstairs to James Child again to have a look at. What's his decision on the field? No try. No try on the field. It's just the grounding, and was it grounded before it was stolen, Stuart, is the question he's asking.
Well, that is the question. Certainly the ball is stolen at some point, but does he actually ground the ball? That's what the video referee is looking at. Well, I think the ball comes loose as he's trying to put it down. Is it stolen, or does it come out in impact as trying to get the ball down?
Do the rules not state if the hand or arm holding the ball puts it down in goal?
Yeah, if his hand is anywhere on that ball when it's grounded, it'll be deemed as downward pressure.
So the ball doesn't need to touch the grass?
It needs to touch the grass to be scored, yes.
It can't be above the arm?
No, hand or arm touching the ground is referring to a tackle. I think at that point you see the ball come out, so I think he has lost the ball. But I don't actually think it's stolen. I think it's come out as part of the impact of the tackle.
And if that's the case, a hand or arm grounding the ball, that was also by the defender. So could this be a goal line dropout?
Well, it could be a goal line dropout if that's the case. Or it could be playing the ball just inside the field of play. He's gone for lost. Well, he's gone for a knock-on in the in-goal area. Greater advantage is the 20 metre.
See all of the above.
Goal line dropout then it is.
20 metre restart.
Lost.
They're lost in goal, Eddie.
That's what he just confirmed, doesn't he, on the field? Phil Bentham lost in goal. 20-metre restart.
Well, last week Hull KR were a touch unlucky. They lost 14 points to 12. Had a try disallowed in the left corner, one disallowed in the right, held up over the line. Sometimes sport at the highest level, you just need a bit of luck. John Wilkin not being able to ground the ball might just be the luck turning for Hull KR tonight.
That is Chris Clarkson out there playing the ball. They like to move the ball around, don't they, Hull KR? This is good stuff. And Liam Salter, and he's not tackled correctly there. He escaped the net of John Wilkins, so play on. He made a few more metres forward. It's Kelly attacking the line, gets a good pass away to Dane Tills, and a great return. Men on the overlap wide. Here is a try for Maurice Blair. Maurice Blair over in the corner for Hull Kingston Rovers. Well, that was good. That was very good.
It was good at both ends of the field. That's where you've got to start with this Hull KR side. They were able to defend near their own try line. We saw them last year score some wonderful tries. When their attack is on form, it is one of the best in this league. But it hasn't been good enough recently until they've played with a free spirit.
I reckon they'll have a question mark. I know the try's given against that pass. The fans went up in arms. But the score will stand, and Maurice Blair will put this St Helens side under a huge amount of pressure. You're right, Eddie, they do like to... Probably flat. Hills didn't hit a good line off that. They all pour forward in great numbers. Enthusiastic performance thus far from Hull Kingston Rovers.
When Albert Kelly's on form, he really can fire and excite the whole players in this competition. He's done that right now. He's got Maurice Blair, his teammate, over in the corner. But it goes back, Brian, to the point of making they have to. They've missed too many tackles to be a top 8 side. They've defended better tonight, and now they're showing that they can attack at the other end.
Well, Maurice Blair, second year here at Rovers from the NRL, formerly with Penrith, Melbourne and the Gold Coast. Tries in the middle-eights win against Sheffield and Salford last year. Kieran Cunningham, Sean Long. Slightly concerned, I think, slightly perturbed. Meanwhile, Ryan Shaw. London in Super League in 2013. Only had a couple of appearances, though. And arriving here from the Bradford Bulls. Ryan Shaw with this attempted conversion. He's just pushed it the wrong side of the posts. Now, misconversions came to haunt them last week. I hope it doesn't do the same again tonight.
Well, you can't criticise this attacking player. The kicks were a hard one. It was scored out wide. But that's wonderful support, isn't it, from both Blair and Kelly when their arms get the ball free with the arms. They've scored there. They really have to. I mean, so far in this game, we've played for almost 20 minutes. St Helens have missed twice as many tackles. Not many, but they've still missed twice as many tackles as Hull KR. And that's a key stat, really, that Hull KR need to maintain. To defend better than their opponents will give themselves a far better chance of being a top 8 team this year.
Of course, a major concern for Hull Kingston Rovers is the continued absence with injury of Josh Montalato. He's a great goal kicker.
And I would guess more Terry Campese, because I think he's more than just a player on the field.
He's
I think he's a spirit.
Has he? Really,
He hasn't obviously been injured for a long time, and they've got to hope he comes back bigger and better than ever this year. Good run from the kickoff. That's a really enthusiastic step. There was a sign in the Hull KR dressing room just as he walked out. There is no excuse for anyone to work harder than you. Obviously, the players are taking on board that message tonight.
Graham Horn wrestles himself away from the attentions of Matty Dawson. And there's that big prop forward, Adam Walker again. Ball goes to ground. It's picked up by Chris Clarkson over on the far side. Clarkson, the former Leeds Rhino, of course, on a season-long loan at Widnes, though, last year. And he was the man at dummy half. Kelly again, gets it away to Cocaine. Quicksilver stuff. Oh, and he held on to it, and good job he did too, Liam Salter. Cocaine, back he comes to Kelly. He's on halfway, so he thumps the ball into the corner. And that just skips away from Shannon McDonnell. And we will see the Catalan Dragons against the Leeds Rhinos tomorrow at 5 minutes to 5. Sky Sports 2, Bill Arthur, Terry O'Connor and Barry McDermott. Huge game for Leeds. Huge game for the Catalan, the bottom 2 in this early stage of the first Utility Super League season.
Well, St Helens need a lift, and maybe number 17 might just provide that. Luke Thompson came on here now. He carries the ball particularly strongly. He'll be keen to have a big game here tonight. Him and Lars Atazi, introduced by Kieran Cunningham, see if they can fire up and spark the team in the middle. John Wilkin takes them over halfway.
Yes, he does. And we are midway through this first half, and it's Hull Kingston Rovers ahead by 10 points to 6. It's fed out wide, and it's Dominic Peyrou. 2 tries last week in the World Club Series against the Roosters. Walsh, good kick, high. We're all chasing this. And Cockayne does brilliantly under pressure.
Superb catch. Tommy Makinson worked hard, didn't he? Disciplined to stay onside, got up to contest for the ball. There was no way anyone was taking that other than Ben Cockayne. He was determined, his eyes on the ball, and again he's relieved the pressure from his team.
Yeah, brilliant takers. Hull Kingston Rovers make 2 substitutions themselves, bring out some big guys, James Green and James Greenwood. Well, the big ace Eddie in the pack for the St Helens side is James Roby, still on the sideline. You got to say he's worth a couple of tries. For Hull Kingston Rovers to get anything out of this game, when Roby comes on the field, I believe they will need to be in front and playing as well as they are now.
That was a very lucky ricochet for St Helens off the knees of Burns and picked up by Walsh. There is Roby. Perhaps he is the key man for Saints if and when he gets on. Coming back from rib damage, so maybe not quite 100%.
Well, St Helens haven't started that many sets in their opponent's half. Here's a great opportunity to do it again. But Shannon McDonald seems to be the key.
Turner, there is McDonald chiming in, delaying the pass, having to take the tackle. And the tackle was affected by Ian Thornley. Burns and Turner. Gets the pass away to Lamatazi. Green is there in close attendance. Turner again, trying to stab the ball in behind the defence. It ricochets off a Hull KR foot. Now, was it played at by Chris Clarkson? The referee's having a chat with his touch judge, and they've decided that yes, it was.
It does appear, doesn't it, that he throws his left foot out to stop the ball. It's a hard call, but I think it's the right one from the touch judge.
Yeah, he kicks it, doesn't he, Clarkson?
I think he does play at it. Now, there's a little bit of pressure, I think, Brian, Ian, mounting on St Helens in terms of attack. It's another good chance, and they don't look to be running on 100%.
Now, if you can defend this, if you're Hull Kingston Rovers, you know yourself, you get energy and you get enthusiasm from defending your own line. They will get a bit thrown at them here. Watch that sweep play again with Shannon McDonald. They tried to bring him in on the last set in attack. Hey, they've tried it again. It hasn't quite worked.
Oh, but Albert
plenty
Kelly's...
of tackles up their sleeve, though.
Sorry, Brian. Albert Kelly seems to have pulled up there with a leg injury.
Yes, there's something wrong there, definitely. He's moved straight out to the wing here, Albert Kelly. And if Roby is important to St Helens, Kelly is so vital to Rovers. Walsh gets the pass away. Dawson.
Great tackle by Ken Seo. He cut him down.
Burns to Wilkin. Amor to Walsh. Walsh then a little untidily. It finds its way to Dominic Peyrou. Ooh, thought about offloading that after the tackle was made. Burns. Here's Turner. Good tackle again. Great tackle by Greenwood. Burns once more. 5 metres away. They come back. And that's played at again. That's going to be 6 to go. He's saying the tackle count is carrying on. That was tackle number 5. That looked again as though that was played at by the Hull Kingston Rovers defender.
I said you need some luck to win some games, and maybe this is an element of luck. It did look that they played at it there, Stuart.
Well, he's definitely put his foot out as he did previously. The leg just comes out to control the ball. Should have been another set for Saints.
As it is, it's a set from deep in their own half for Rovers. And down goes Adam Walker again. And a little knock on. A little knock on. And we've got more action at Warrington, Barry.
Another try for the Wolves, Eddie. Growing influences from the halfbacks from Warrington. Liam Finn trying desperately to keep his side in this match. And Darryl Clark having a growing influence as well.
You see here. think there was a collision between the top of the thigh and the man at dummy half then.
I think he just got a little close, George Lawler. Needed to give himself a step back. Got right on top of his man who's playing the ball. The enthusiasm to get into position has cost him. But it doesn't have to mean they concede points. They've managed to keep St Helens at bay thus far. Well, those recent attacks.
More pressure coming in here from Wilkin, fed by Turner. George Lawler, by the way, is the Academy Player of the Year in this part of the world. Amor. Now, the referee has seen something here that he wants attending to.
Is it John Wilkin?
Blood, is it?
John Wilkin, I think, when he carried the ball in.
Oh yes. A nasty bang. There's a little bit of it that has spattered also onto Travis Burns.
That doesn't it, on his lips.
I hope the lip won't prevent John from joining John Wells after the match, but that looks nasty. John Wilkin, hopefully, fingers crossed, with John Wells at full time at the touchscreen. And you have to go off and have that attended to.
It's given St Helens a long time here now to set up two lines of attack out to the right. It appears that they're going to shift it away from us. Here it comes.
With Turner looking for the short ball. It was there. Now here's Turner again. Attacking that line, breaking through almost, but he had a couple of players hanging on to him. Walsh gets the pass away once again. Solid and scrambling defence from Hull KR. Burns. Walsh to the corner looking for Makinson. Finding Makinson, and Makinson scores.
Boy, they needed that. They couldn't find a way through the line. Couldn't find a way to put the ball over it. So they've had to kick over the top and hope that Tommy Makinson could outjump his opponent, which he's clearly done there. That's a sensational finish and one much needed by the Saints. Last tackle. There was a knock-on by George Lawler. They've had a period of possession down at this end of the field. It goes to Luke Walsh. They stay onside. This time he gets above his man with the jump, the leap. Great put down and an important 4 points here. The significance of this for this season cannot be perhaps underestimated here. Tommy Makinson needed to start his side here. Been poor for 2 weeks, but all of a sudden this gives them a chance here now from something which to build.
Nothing that Ryan Shaw could do about that. Tommy Makinson was head and shoulders above him. Clutches it out of the air and touches down, and he seems to be very pleased with that, and why shouldn't he be, because they're back on level terms. Honours even over the course of the Super League campaign for both Saints and Hull KR. 10 wins and a draw from 20 encounters for St Helens. That's how close it's been.
Eddie, there was nothing Ryan Shaw could do as the ball was dropping. You're absolutely right. But after this conversion, we're going to have a look at what he did just as Luke Walsh kicked the ball to make his job doubly difficult to try and attack Tommy Makinson. I believe he got himself in the wrong position. We'll have a look at it after this.
So can Luke Walsh here give St Helens the lead? Difficult kick on that far side of the pitch, and the crowd behind him tell you and tell him that he's missed that. All square then.
Right, the problem with Ryan Shaw's positioning is he finds himself tracking infield, and by the time the ball comes down he's having to backpedal. He should have been in a position where he was on the sideline coming forward towards the ball. I know when you got numbers in front of you, the temptation is to come in case they shift the ball, pass it through the hands. They didn't, and Tommy Makinson was able to catch him out. Ryan Shaw will learn from that.
Well, we saw a really tight contest last night, didn't we? John Wilkins back out there with his lip patched up somehow. A real tight contest last night between Hull and Castleford. And same again here this evening on the other side of the city of Kingston upon Hull. 10 apiece, Rovers and St Helens. And around about 12 minutes or thereabouts to go to half-time. Thompson gets to his feet, plays it to Burns, back he comes to Walsh. Oh, that's charged down, that's 6 to go. Oh, and this is good from Maurice Blair, stepping out of the challenge.
What a significant play that is, isn't it? Luke Walsh looking to kick early and kick deep as Walkham now takes his side over the 80-metre line. Is he offloaded?
Yes, I think he
did. To go forward.
I think he did. He got the ball away. Turner was there. to make sure that Clarkson wasn't making any further progress. Oh, that's nicely picked up. That's a beautiful try. That is a sensational try for James Green. All as a result of pressure on the kicker and the charge down. Well, the parity didn't last long, did it? James Green off the bench, and he produced 42 tackles against Castleford in the draw here in round 1, and he's made a significant contribution here.
Well, good teams and winning teams turn chances like this into points. They've turned over the possession, and then a nice pass there from Greenwood to Green, and he just about gets over the line. He does well to take the pass, and this will be a certain 6 points here now for Hull KR.
I thought this pass had Albert Kelly's name written all over it. They ran it that well. In fact, I'm sure the pass was for Kelly. Kelly certainly made a grab for it. Green turned around with a big long lever out and brought it back in. But it goes to show you, when you're running as a straight runner or you're running out the back, run with conviction. You will put the defence in trouble. They did on that occasion. 6 points.
And Hull Kingston Rovers edge their way back into the lead with 10.5 minutes of the first half gone. David Hodgson out there is passing on the messages from Willie Poaching. And Ryan Shaw has the opportunity to score another successful conversion here. This would stretch the lead to 6 points. And that's exactly what he does with the left boot. Hull Kingston Rovers 16, St Helens 10.
Well, last season Hull KR were very reliant on Albert Kelly to score some tries. Maybe the Saints were actually looking for Kelly again, like Brian and I thought the ball was going for him, but no, Green decided this was his time, took in the pass, made sure they turned on the scoreboard, and they're at that 30-minute junction, absolutely buzzing here on an emotional week for the club.
Only his second try in Super League for James Green, we've just seen. The other one was in February 2014, 2 years ago. That's a telling contribution in this first half, and here he goes again with the first run and straight at Amor and Thompson and Burns having words, and here we go. Burns and Green trading punches, and what does the referee do here? 2 yellow cards maybe?
Well, I'd say that's minimum 2 yellow cards.
Got to stop it first.
I thought there was a bit of interference there that should have been dealt with and led to that, really.
Green looked at the referee, wondering whether he was going to blow the whistle. The referee said play on. And then I think might have been a little push, first and foremost, with Travis Burns. I'm tending to think he might have instigated. Here's the first contact. That was aggressive, to say the least. This is the problem. There we go. Green does... Oh, the slap from Green. I beg your pardon, Travis Burns. I apologise.
Pushing to start with, isn't it? And then they start swinging. So that two players in the sin bin for 10 minutes.
Well, the first offence is by Travis Burns. The slap in the face follows up with that. Put them both in the sin bin. Penalty to Hull Kingston Rovers will be my shout.
Yes, it was a slap from Burns. It was a thump from Green, and another one. I think he landed another one before that as well. Well, Burns leaves the field for 10 minutes. And what's Phil Bentham going to do here? He's going to do exactly the same. They're both going to cool down for 10 minutes in the bin.
Brian, you can look on this 2 ways. Are St Helens rattled? Is that poor discipline because the Rovers are doing what the Saints didn't expect? Or is it just Travis Burns being competitive and trying to really fight fire with fire?
No, he's a player trying to find his position in this side. They're playing him at hooker. I think they should be playing him at 6, but I don't think his coach, Kieran Cunningham, will be impressed with that performance. In a game where they're 6 points down, 10 minutes to half-time, they're a playmaker short now. And you know what it means, Eddie? They'll get closer and closer, I think, to Roby getting on the field for St Helens.
Yeah, well, I would think so. But what a 60 seconds that was for James Green. Scores a try at one end, gets involved in a punch-up at the other and gets a yellow card. So down to 12, both of them now. So spaces to exploit, perhaps. And Rovers have been doing that with a full complement of players on for both sides in this first half. Cocaine can't get past Peru.
He's right, from what we've seen, 12 aside suits the Rovers a little bit more. They've been passing the ball particularly well, forwards and backs.
Dane Tilse goes down under the challenge from Attila Vey. I wonder if all that's going to be on the naughty step on Wednesday on skysports.com/rugby league. That's your place for all the highlights of the weekend. Phil Clarke's 5, the big hits from Barry and Terry, the naughty step, and of course the tries as soon as the final sirens have sounded on match days.
Safe and secure hands from Shannon McDonald at the back. Under pressure, pretty good kick high up, but now they've gone wide with Swift, and maybe they fancy this 12-a-side like.
Well, they do when Swift's on the ball. He's an outstanding young player, Adam Swift. He played all 35 games last year. Wilkins dropped it, and Hull KR have got the ball back.
But the Rovers have transitioned well, haven't they, from defence to attack, looking to do it again, although they've gone straight down the middle. It gives the Saints a little longer here to get set in defence.
Tilts to his feet, plays the ball untidily to Lawler. He then gets it away to Maurice Blair. They have a man on the overlap out wide, and it is the young man himself, Ryan Shaw. Oh, now then. Well, they're saying yes, and they're applauding, and they're slapping his back. What they're going to give here, referee Phil Benton and the touch judge having words. What's the decision on the field before James Child has a look at it? No try out there.
But they're looking to check the touch and the grounding. They both looked very close, certainly from this side of the ground. So look, first of all, are they anywhere near touch? You see the foot probably stays in the field of play. He's got that down.
Looks like it's tucked underneath the wrist, isn't it?
Well, does he maintain possession? Is his hand still on the ball? I don't think from that shot you can see any separation.
No, that's Stuart. I think he's done well with his feet, but I'm tending to think he's lost the grip on the ball, whether or not he's got it before.
Well, he's lost the grip with the hand, hasn't he? But the wrist and the lower arm is still on it.
Yeah, just keep an eye on Eddie's. It's coming down. His hand is certainly.
I don't think there's any problem with the foot.
No.
He's got to get his hand or some part of his hand back on that ball before it hits the ground.
Well, the thumb's there, I suppose.
The only downside to this is that the referee sent it up as a no try.
That's right.
So we have to see conclusive proof.
I wonder if he sent it up as a no try because he thought there was a foot in touch.
Well, that was certainly the call from the touch judge. But I think it's difficult to confirm that he's actually got that ball down. Had the try been sent up as a try, or the incident as a try, then you might have seen that game. I think probably on that evidence it looks like he's lost the ball just going down. I don't think this try will be given. I think we'll be staying with the on-field decision of no try.
We're splitting hairs here a bit because there is contact with the hand or the wrist or the lower arm.
Even with a video ref, it's inconclusive whether that's a try or not. And that's sport. That is professional sport at the highest level. We've got every angle, we've seen it in every way. But ultimately, somebody has to make a human decision. That's the video ref.
Well, it's a heck of a decision, this, for James Child. And, of course, it is a vital decision as well, because look at the scoreline.
Well, he was confident. He jumped up, and he's now lining a kick-up.
Yes, he is.
What he thinks will be a conversion of his own try.
But the thing is that the video referee cannot see him, so no pressure, and he cannot hear us, so no pressure. Here comes the call from James Child. Tries denied. He doesn't believe it.
I guess, Eddie, at full speed, Brian, I never got to full speed, you did on the wing. At full speed, he probably felt that he'd scored that, didn't he? That would have happened so fast.
Here it is at full speed, make your own mind up. Can't blame him. Can't blame him for thinking in the positive.
No, you're right. If that goes up as a try, I think he gets it. There was no conclusive proof. The on-field referee had decided it was a try, but it is, look, it's what it is now, 16-10. St. Helens should be rattled at this moment.
They should be. They could easily be 22-10 down, maybe. I mean, the kick would have been difficult for Ryan Shaw. But Barry, there's more happenings at Warrington.
Well, a no try from a former Warrington junior, Ryan Shaw, but a lovely little tap over the top. Right, Chris Sandow doing what his fellow half-back did, Kirk Gidley. It's 24 points to 6, just gone in for half-time. And Warrington with a bit to do in the second half.
Wilkin drifts the kick over the top, turns Ken Seo around. Stuart, can I just go back to that no-try decision? We're taking it that it was sent upstairs because there was a foot in touch. Is that right?
Well, it was the touch had said touch and grounding to check.
So they had to check.
They had doubts on both of them, yes.
Okay.
You would make the point on the previous video protocols that the video referee would have had a pure look at that himself and would probably have come up with the benefit of the doubt to the attacking team on that. So, you know, under a previous system, it would have been probably a try. On the system we've got now, the on-field decision has to be made by the referee, who is not always in the best position.
And the touch judge was certainly not in the position to judge on the grounding of that ball either, even though it was sent up as question mark on both. I think they've been hard done by.
Well, I have, and you know, some people have been looking at a new way of doing the video referee protocols and system, and you know, perhaps we should have a good look at it.
Well, maybe you want to have a chat with Stuart about that on Twitter, and I bet Hull KR fans will be lining up for you, Stuart. Ask Sky Sports RL, rather Sky Sport at Sky Sports RL. Ask Sky Sports RL is the hashtag.
I'll tell you what, Eddie, this is not a good position for St Helens. The form they've shown in the last two games, that hammering at Salford, the really disappointing World Club Series game, and they've come here, they knew what was going to happen here. There'd be a fired up Hull Kingston Rovers side. The first 35 minutes or so from St Helens haven't been close to what we'd expect from that club with the players that they have available to them.
I would imagine a team that comes to any opposition that has changed the coach midweek always expects a reaction, don't they? And that's what they're getting.
I think so. Maybe they're just hoping that some individual brilliance from one of the star players might just get them out of this hole they're in temporarily. Luke Walsh scoops it up from acting half-back, sprays it wide to Perot.
Yes, and he tries to dab it in between two defenders. And Luke Walsh just has a word with him, I think. Don't know whether Walsh believed that was the best option.
Well, Ryan Shaw's now back involved. He has an appetite now, having been denied that try. Just get his hands on his ball, and Dale Tilts, I should say, keen again to promote the ball. No support though, maybe just starting to tire one or two of the Rovers players, not pushing up with the man with the ball.
This is Rob Mulhern, former Leeds man again, Mulhern. And Maurice Blair from inside his own 40. He's gone for a 40-20 here. This gets a nice bounce. Doesn't get the bounce. And so McDonald will try and get away from these three. Oh, and he nearly did, but Graham Horn held on to him.
Well, it was the sort of a chase of a team that have a determination, something between the teeth here now. Of course, they have that 6-point lead, and we are approaching half-time, but they follow that kick up really enthusiastically. They do have a point to prove to the supporters more than anything. They were booed off the pitch here last Sunday, and they know that their supporters deserve better.
That's Lama Tarzai, his third appearance since his move from Salford. Here is Atelier. Referee calls this the last tackle coming up. And Jordan Turner hoists the kick high again. They're all chasing after this. Turner leading the chase, but Cockayne dealing with the threat perfectly. And then hit a bit high by John Wilkin following up.
Well, again, maybe some frustration. John Wilkins pushed up hard. He has caught him around the head, and the ref says that's a penalty. But after that, he knocks the ball away. This is a test of the patience more than anything. All the noises they said knew that this was going to be a tight affair. He's been in this situation many times before.
He's going to need that lip stitching, isn't he, during the half-time break?
Is the ball touched?
So here they come. Ian Thornley just halted because he saw there was a second ball on the field. Unfortunately, so too did the referee. Into the last 2 minutes of this first half. Clarkson taking on Thompson, and they goes down on the halfway line. Waller again, and Tilts shaped to pass the ball inside, but got it away quite cleanly in the end to Lawler in support. This has been a good first half for Hull Kingston Rovers. Tilts to Horn. Oh, went behind everybody. What have I said? And it's lost again and picked up by Liam Salter. We're looking to get away with that, Rovers.
Well, we're still down to 12 aside. There are still more spaces. Shannon McDonald doing his best to organise St Helens' defence, and they're desperate here now. They don't want to concede another try here just before the hooter.
No, they've got a few more tackles in this set. Have Rovers. Cockayne just hoists the kick towards the in-goal area, and McDonald claims it in that in-goal area, so it's a tap restart on the 20, and he's anxious to get on with it.
Well, it wouldn't surprise us if the Saints end up scoring here before half-time. They've done it many times before, just when you think you've got them here with a lead.
Dawson couldn't get the ball out to Adam Swift, who goes in and pushes Luke Walsh out of the way at dummy half. Good progress made forward on 2 tackles, that is. But Greenwood with the tackle. Thompson. Solid defence again from 3 Robbins. Walsh to Wilkin on halfway. Gives it to Amor. Amor just flings the ball away. Went backwards off Jordan Turner's hands. Play on. You know there's only seconds remaining. That's not the best pass. Just a little disjointed. The St Helens passing at the moment into the last 5 seconds of the half. This will be the last play then. As Vey on halfway goes through a gap. Here's the siren, howls on, takes the tackle. Well, John Wilkin is not happy whatsoever. Blood from a nasty gash on the mouth. And he knows that they're going to have to do better in the second half. Something for the Rovers supporters to cheer, though. And the youngster Ryan Shaw still having a little debate maybe with Phil Bentham about that try that was disallowed by the video referee. He clearly believes that he got the ball down, but he didn't, and that's why they are only just ahead at the half-time siren, Hull Kingston Rovers. But a good half from them. Good response to the appointment of Willie Poaching. Players on the way for the second half here at the KC Lightstream Stadium. Hull KR ahead at half-time, 16-10. They're underway at Warrington, though, and early points on the board. Barry McDermott.
I'm deliverer of good news if you're a Wakefield fan. Big signing. Anthony Tupu strolls over a lovely pass from Michael Sion. They've had a really positive start to this second half.
So first points on the board for Wakefield at Warrington. Here, Tommy Makinson waiting to get this second half underway at Hull Kingston Rovers. Hull KR 16, St Helens 10. That's how we are. And waiting for the emergence of Phil Bentham, the match referee. Here he comes. And time maybe for St Helens to push the pedal a bit. But Hull Kingston Rovers dogged in their determination not to let this one get away from them. 11 months ago, Saints arrived here having won the first 6 in a row of the season. They went home beaten 22-24. What's in store in the second 40 minutes here then? Who will go home with the spoils tonight? It's obvious that the coaches have had words to say during the half-time break. And I think that Willie Poaching will be well pleased, Phil, with the opening 40 minutes that he's had as caretaker coach.
I think he will, yes, as long as he gets an intense and competitive second 40, well, he can't have any complaints, whatever the outcome. His team have performed well so far. They've passed the ball around, the attack's been good, and the defence has been better than we've seen it for most of last season, and of course the first few games of this.
The early penalty, James Greenwood not being allowed to get to his feet by Lamatazi, and so penalty here for Hull KR, which will do them as far as they are concerned. Holding down. And this ball is pumped deep into St Helens territory. So here they come, opening moments of this second half.
Eddie, the bad news for Hull Kingston Rovers is I can't see Albert Kelly out on that field. Saw him pick up an injury in the first half. He looked like he had a lower limb injury, was limping, but he's not out on the field, and if he doesn't play for the rest of this game, that will massively dent any chances Hull Kingston Rovers have of pulling off what might be a very famous victory.
Lawler, the dummy half. Here is Dane Tilts. Lumbers the ball in towards that St Helens defence. It comes back off the fingertips of Lawler, went backwards again. He tried to slow the play, the ball down, Saints, succeeding thus far. Horn gets it away. It was Maurice Blair. Oh, and Cockayne has dropped it. Televe has it on the free play.
Following up from Brian's point, it appears as though Graham Horn's going to try and be that extra man to pass the ball wide to Maurice Blair and let them attack out wide, but it took too long to get there.
Oh, and here's this first penalty of the second half now for St Helens, holding down again in the tackle. So one each. Penalties, start of the second half. St Helens will begin this set right on the halfway line. Barry?
Well, I'm sorry, Wakefield fan. The Lord giveth and he takes away. Kirk Gidley with a lovely show and goal. He gets over, through the line, feeds the ball to Chris Sandow. 28 points to 12 now in favour of the Warrington Wolves.
St Helens in possession here at Hull Kingston Rovers. Ball back on the inside from Jordan Turner.
Well, some nice intricacy in the passing. But Shannon McDonald has lost the ball according to the referee, and it's slaps and backs and handshakes all around for Hull. They're all over the show. It's as if they've just scored 2 points here. He hits the ground and he loses the ball. Green and Lawler, the main men in the tackle. Perhaps there's a hand on it.
Was there a fingertip there?
Well, I think it was pulled out. You can clearly see the hand pulling away at the ball. I think they're unlucky there.
OK, scrum will go down then. Let us go downstairs to Angela Powers for the half-time news.
Thanks, Eddie. The bad news on Albert Kelly is that it looks like he's suffering from a dead leg and probably won't play any more part in this game. But positivity all around, really. The coach, or the assistant or acting coach, should I say, has said that they don't want them to change too much, especially with their attitude. Keep applying themselves, keep concentrating for the next 40 minutes and keep positivity going. And that's exactly really what Kieran Conningham wants too. He wants them to stay in this arm wrestle. He's happy with some aspects of the game, but they looked a little bit tired to St Helens. The key word for this second half is to find some energy, to keep playing with energy and keep playing with positivity.
Well, they found some energy there to bring down Dane Tills. This is Graham Horn. And he's not tackled his play on, so off he goes again. Slight lack of concentration then by St Helens. They let him go and he made some more valuable metres forward. We've reached the 5th tackle. Good little slip pass out wide. And a good job that Luke Walsh was there, because there were chances there, and Willie Poaching just a little bit frustrated that Greenwood could not make more of that.
Well, I guess when any team's trapped on the last tackle, there's a disappointment, but sometimes they come off here. They didn't on that time. They've turned over the ball in a good position.
It's not a bad position to put it off, Phil, but you would look at this Hull Kingston Rovers side without Albert Kelly, Eddie. They got Maurice Blair still there to ball play. Phil is right to mention Graham Horn stepping up. But you got to wonder where the creativity has come from. If you haven't got the creativity, what it means is you've got to be super tight in defence and make as few errors as you've ever made in a game of Super League.
Oh, that's a good handoff by Jordan Turner. Gets the arm free as well, gets it away to Makinson. He was cut down temporarily by Cockayne. He comes back for a second effort as well, the Hull KR full back. Burns out of the sin bin, gives it to Walsh. Walsh booming pass wide to Wilkin. Wilkin then finds Matty Dawson. Dawson trying to go round the outside. They stick to the guns well, do Rovers in defence. And it's with Wilkin again. Here now is Walsh. Walsh then to Turner. Turner on the bounce. It finds its way to Dominic Peyrou. Great ball, but off the hands and backwards from Mateleve. They've reached the last tackle here of the Saints, 20 metres out. And Turner at dummy half gives it to Walsh. He's under pressure immediately, but he gets the kick down into this right-hand corner, looking for Makinson again. He pats the ball back. Mateleve has picked it up. He dabs it forward. Cockayne lets it go into the in-goal area. He's going to be in trouble here. He must be in touch, isn't he? He's given himself up, actually. He's given himself up, Ken Seo.
His foot was on the dead ball line. He throws the pass. They're desperate to get out. It's a brave play, but look, he's already over it. His feet are just touching the line, so he's out of play.
That's honesty from Ken Seo. He didn't try and kid anybody there, and he just stopped. So goal line dropout. And Cockayne waiting. Gets the goal line dropout away up to the 40-metre mark, where it finds Luke Walsh. Amataze will take it forward, puts one on his backside. Lawler in there too, hounding, trying to halt the progress with Green, which they do eventually. Burns and Amor. Good tackling again from Rob Mulhern. Oh, a penalty for interference by Big Dane Tills. Not interested in taking the 2 on offer. Why would they be at 6 points adrift? Saints looking for the 6 points here, with Travis Burns at dummy half. Burns then to Luke Walsh. Walsh looks for the run as it was Turner. Now it's Vey, and Vey looking to offload. Brought to ground.
but he's sideways. Hulker had that covered very easily. Ball back inside now to Thompson.
Thompson halted by Blair, and also in attendance there was Ryan Shaw. Burns waits, gives it to Turner. Turner, back it goes to Walsh, and they look for the hole here. That's good defence. John Wilkin thought he was through then.
Brilliant tackle by Graham Horn. He saved them on that play. They got one more.
Dawson will get over. Dawson scores for St Helens. Well, they switched the ball from right to left, and in the end, Matty Dawson gets his first try of the season on this, his first appearance of 2016.
Well, the goal line dropout was the massive play that's given them the field position early this half. Good pass from Luke Walsh, giving it early, asking the men out wide to work their magic. This is why you play in the centres or on the wings. You're fast, you're evasive, and you know how to get in between two defenders. Dawson does brilliantly well there to relieve some pressure here for the Saints and their supporters who've made the journey here tonight, because it's been a nervy 50 minutes so far.
Well, it goes from bad to worse, I think, for Hull Kingston Rovers. They conceded. They'll look at that defence on the edge. Liam Salter's been good this season and good today in this game. Fell off a tackle, as did Ken Seo. But when I say it goes from bad to worse, it's because that man, James Roby, is coming on the field. Now watch this, Eddie, lift St Helens.
Yes, Kieran Cunningham, has he played the ace? Roby's back out there. He's waited 48.5 minutes before being introduced. Rib injury. And Luke Walsh now with the opportunity to add the extras and square this match up. Two goals against the Roosters last week for Luke Walsh, remember. He's already kicked one in the first half, but he has missed the first attempt of the second half, so the gap remains just 2 points, 16-14.
Well, Hulker knew if they were ever going to beat the Saints tonight, they'd have to do something special. There'll be times when they're under enormous pressure, and I think the next 5 minutes will be one of them. That's relief and happiness for the coaches.
Good ball as well to Dawson, and put him on the outside of Salter. He always has an advantage against the defender. Salter, I think, gave himself a little too much to do.
So first try of the second half goes St Helens' way here at Hull Kingston Rovers. Roby with his first touch of this second half, and more action for Barry to describe at Warrington.
Well, as we see the talisman for St Helens enter the fray, Warrington without their talisman, Benny Westwood, have a glimpse into the future. Ben Curry, Jack Hughes, Joe Westerman forming the back three, and it's Ben Curry who gets that try.
So Warrington going pretty well here. This match is there for the winning for somebody, and who's going to be the bravest, who's going to take home the 2 points tonight?
Well, we've often seen Saints just lift to another gear here. Now with Worms on the field, Roby in the middle as well, they're going to push harder and faster than Rovers have seen in the last 50 minutes, and the home side need to match it.
They do. They're running it though on the last tackle. They're running it with the try scorer Dawson. He fancies his chances, but he loses the ball forward. This will be the free play then, and the referee, I think, will bring it back for the scrum. No advantage gained.
Well,
Kane was being forced towards the sideline,
and there was a collision of two Hull KR players there. Graham Horn still on the field. They need him. They definitely need him back fit and alive here. Is it a bang of heads? His teammate hit the ground. No, he hits the back of Dawson's head. Ow, painful facial injury.
Yes, it was right on the cheekbone as well, wasn't it? Let's hope it's not as serious as it looks. Bang, there it was.
It's perhaps Horn's defence, maybe the left arm that comes over and forces the ball out of the tackle with Dawson.
A couple of big defensive plays Philly's come up with in this second half.
Oh, look at that, he's got a shiner there. Wow. Gee, they're brave, aren't they? Just get up, carry on, take a swig of water back in the line, waiting for the pass. Don't forget, your match highlights available at full time. All the other games played, and this one, of course, and everything else over this weekend, almost as soon as the final siren sounds, and it's on our website.
Well, you said there was some bravery from Graham Horn. It was a brave run as well by Greenwood. They needed it here. Saints firing up in the middle, but interference again from Lou McCarthy-Scarsbrook. A penalty gets Hulkey out towards the halfway line.
Hensio lining up behind Greenwood to take a run. I think the outside backs are really going to have to get in and help the whole Kingston Rovers side out tonight. As we said, the creativity is gone from the side with Albert Kelly. Maurice Blair will have a lot come on his shoulders, so they've got to roll up their sleeves across this line, do everything they can to try and grind out a result here.
Only 8 penalties in the match, but 5 of them coming in the opening 10 minutes of this second half. 5 in the opening 10 of the second half, only 3 in the entire 40 minutes we saw in the first half, as Dane Till skips away for one, gets a great ball away, and here they come again with that young man, Lawler. Cockayne, he wanted to quick play the ball. Cockayne gets it to Graham Horne.
Oh, what a shame he couldn't find the kick through the line. He had Greenwood charging on it, but Donald scrambling across the back to try and get to the kick. The right play, good idea, they just couldn't find it through the line. And the Saints survived that risk.
Big Alex Wormsley brings it forward. And he will play the ball to Roby, Vey, and Dominic Peyrou. Well, high shot in the face by Maurice Blair.
Contact with the head, isn't it? He's tired, he's trying to reach to make the tackle before he's close enough to do so. Not close enough, is he, here to make contact? Throws the hand, hits him in the face. And James Roby will be given the ball here now, and we'll see what impact he has in this period of possession that the Saints have, charged for by Wormsley.
But they stood their ground, didn't they, the Hull KR defenders, James Green in particular. Roby again, now this is Walsh, here is Turner. Turner with a short pass to Peyrou. Good defensive work by Ian Thornley in his face with Maurice Blair. Jordan Turner down the short side, Blair again doing the tackling, bringing Turner to the ground. Roby pointing into the right-hand corner, but he goes left and he finds Peyrou, who finds Vey. And he releases the pass to Walsh, and he holds on somehow. Good work from Peyrou again, but again, solid enough defence from Hull KR. They're keeping Saints at bay. Can they keep them at bay here? As Walsh looks to open them up with a pass to Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook, who has a solid run, but they do hold him out. They've reached the 5th tackle, have St Helens. So can they get something from this? No, they can't.
Can get a goal line dropout. But this is the sort of defence that helped Hull KR to get to the Challenge Cup final. They didn't do it often enough in the league form to make the top 8. Saying no try.
He's asking for a try, or he's given a no try decision on the field. What's going on here, Stuart?
Well, he's looking to see whether there's an obstruction just on Alex Wormsley as he's coming through. I think he's at Dane Tills, who holds his ground. I think he just loses his footing coming through. So I don't think there'll be anything for this. Onside from the kick. I don't think there's any movement towards him. I think it's just a collision there. I don't think there's anything in it. And I think the ball is taken dead by Ben Cockayne. So it'll be a goal line dropout here, I think. Certainly no try.
Ben Cockayne on the spot there, Eddie. He was involved in the tackle on McCarthy-Scarsbrook as no try is ruled. Good defensive work from Ben.
And the last goal line dropout was 4 points for the Saints in this set. They've got to defend it now, Hull KR. They're going to work to centre field, but Luke Walsh seems to be the main man. Whichever way he stands, the ball tends to go in that direction.
Alex Wormsley. Good driving again by the big man, goes down, maybe asking the referee for a penalty. It wasn't coming. Roby finds Walsh. Walsh then gets it away to Turner. Turner, good hands. Wide it goes to Adam Swift. And Swift goes down. It was a good pass by Shannon McDonnell, who's there at dummy half. Gives it then to Walsh. Walsh then to John Wilkin. Wilkin to Roby. The big man Wormsley again. Good tackling low down though. Oh, and was that a penalty? Yes, it was. It was another push at the and a drag of the ankle by Chris Clarkson. And Luke Walsh is saying, we're going to go for 2, are we? And level the scores up here. Take what we've got on offer.
Well, he seemed to roll his hands forward here as we see Chris Clarkson just tug again on the leg and pull him back down. At one time, it looked to me like Luke Walsh was considering playing on here and going for a try. Then he had a second thought, put 2 fingers up in the air, asking the sideline what was the best decision.
Stopped Alex Walmsley, you haven't let him offload it, and he's going to get up and play the ball, even if it's quick. You've still done a good job. I mean, he's one of the most difficult players in the league to stop. You just question why Clarkson went in again. He had done all the good work. His defenders could get set. Well, maybe 2 points here if Walsh can tap this one over.
Well, as Walsh lines this up, Chris Clarkson is receiving attention. You can see him there just to the right of your screen, and I think they're going to replace Chris Clarkson because I think there might have been a clash of heads. I don't think Clarkson's that keen on coming off, but we'll see as Walsh lines this kick up. Penalty is good, the scores are level, it's 16 all. Yes, and Clarkson's a bit groggy, isn't he? There's no doubt about that.
Perhaps a defence for the reason why he did stay involved in that tackle. Disorientated because of the massive impact that your centre suffered. It's a head injury, losing a bit of blood from the mouth, so temporarily this will be a free interchange while he's assessed on the side.
You're absolutely right. Apologise, didn't realise he was in that condition after the tackle. Doesn't look good. Help from the field by 2 of the medical staff. Well, the reasoning behind is hanging on.
Okay, just bringing on Stephen Holker for his first involvement in this game. He sat patiently, probably nervously, on the side for 56 minutes.
There's the man he's replaced in the side, Kieran Dixon. Deep kick-off, and Louis McCarthy-Scarsbrook is underneath it. Drives it back towards George Lawler. Impressed with young Lawler. Lawler again in there with the tackle, along with a bit of help and a bit of weight, which is what is always needed when people like Roby run at you. Maurice Blair is there.
Just taken a sledgehammer, haven't they, and thrown it 4 times fast straight at the hinges down the middle of the field. Now they spray it wide to the left.
They do with Wilkin. Further wide it goes. McDonald again. Down he goes though. Salter doing well. And Turner puts boot to ball and hoists it high. Ooh, he took it pretty well, did Ryan Shaw, but he's trapped in goal.
Well, the last 2 goal line dropouts have produced 6 points for the Saints. Hull KR are desperate here now to survive this one, but ultimately they've built pressure, haven't they, by forcing their opponents to kick the ball out from their own end of the field, and this territorial advantage they're getting in this midway through the second half is telling.
It's a really good take over his shoulder, always difficult. Running back to try and get the ball. He was out jumped in the first half. He'll get a lot of confidence from that. They have to defend again. They have shown us though they're capable of doing it. They're willing to do it. And it's been typified by a young man you mentioned before, George Lawler. You want to look at a player in the Hull Kingston Rovers shirt who has rolled his sleeves up. He has done it tonight.
Talking of rolling his sleeves up, Walmsley. Good drive in, and then he looks for the penalty. It wasn't forthcoming, so on they continue with Luke Thompson. Roby once again, 20 metres out, finds Walsh. Walsh then finds Turner. Great ball back on the inside. McDonald once again.
Brilliant tackle back of Kenny, saved a try.
Oh, he could have been done there for a penalty because he just got in the way of James Roby. Back he comes from McDonald to John Wilkin, and Wilkin goes over for the try. That will nudge St Helens ahead. Try is given by Phil Bentham. Well, forcing the goal line dropouts have been crucial tonight.
Well, they don't seem to be able, do they, now in the second half, to be able to stop the onslaught. Kick it out from under the post, and then the Saints find a way over the line, or they find a penalty as they did in the last set. Here's the high kick. It's a brilliant kick, isn't it? Taken just in the field of play by Shaw, but then trapped with defenders immediately as soon as he catches the ball. John Wilkin just shows the simplest way to score is to go hard, strong and low between the defenders. Just make sure you get the ball over the line. That's all you need to do for the 4 points that were vital here for St Helens' confidence.
Well, John Wilkin will be with John Wells at full time. He'll talk about that, no doubt, providing that bang in the lip allows him. And he's over there for that 4 points. Back where it all began. Of course, John Wilkin, he began his career here at Hull Kingston Rovers. He signed for Saints in his debut for the Saints exactly 13 years ago this weekend. What a great servant he's been to the Saints. And his try has just nudged them ahead, 20 points to 16. And the kick from Walsh is successful. I'm just checking, I think that's the first time that Saints have held the lead in this match since the opening 5 minutes.
Well, things haven't always gone for John Wilkin in this game, but he hangs tough, he stays in there. We're at the hour mark, and he's just taking his team ahead. Hull KR, it's an obvious statement, need the ball, and they need the ball ideally in the opponent's half. To get that isn't that easy though. Somehow they need to come up with a massive effort here in defence. I think try and force the ball free.
And keep the whistle out of the referee's mouth, Phil. Last time they were in this position, trying to get St Helens trapped in their own half, they gave away, I would consider, a needless penalty. And that's a big run to start St Helens. Let's see how Hull Kingston Rovers do in this defensive set.
Yeah, solid run from Alex Walmsley. Louis McCarthy-Scarisbrooke carries the battle forward once again. Roby will have a scamper from dummy half. That's a great run from Roby. That's the trademark of James Roby as we reach the hour mark. Walsh finds Vey. Have St Helens just upped the ante slightly in the last 5-10 minutes? I think they have. As Roby brought back for a penalty. And John Wilkin, the skipper, says we'll take 2 more here.
This gets too quick for you sometimes. That's what happens. Not set. Trying to slow him down. Do everything you can. The referee, he's on the spot.
Just couldn't resist putting his hand into the ruck, could he? Try and slow them down. I think that was the issue there.
Oh, and they're on a warning now, the Hull Kingston Rovers side, for persistent offending. They're not kicking for goal though. John Wilkin must have asked the question and the answer came from the sideline, no. Let's go for the 6 points. Let's try and break the hearts of Hull Kingston Rovers here. The 20 metres out and the Telebay gets to his feet. Roby gives it to Walsh. Walsh then finds Turner. Scrambling defence from Hull KR. Greenwood in there. Allgood in there. Walsh to Thompson. 10 metres out, Thompson. He goes down eventually. Roby finds Walsh. Short ball to Walmsley. They do well to keep him out. Now, what has Roby in the locker this time? Walsh, looping pass. Dawson. Good scrambling defence from Graham Horn. Tracked him all the way across from one side of the field to the other. McDonnell comes back into centre field to Walsh. Shaped a kick, then released the ball. McDonnell here. Mitch Allgood's after him, and Mitch Allgood has trapped him. That's good defence from Hull KR.
Well, Hull KR might not win this game, but the supporters know that the team has tried their hardest. As Kensio picks it up and scoops. Well, the home support banging here now for a penalty to get their team to the other end.
Nothing coming though from Phil Bentham.
That was magnificent defence.
Now there's a penalty.
This is, you know, sets like that can turn it. This penalty goes the way of Hull Kingston Rovers. A determined run. You run in, you've got every chance of winning something. But that stoic defence has put them in this position.
Greenwood having the ball stolen from him. So 10 metres inside the Saints half here. They come again. And they're effervesced by the fact that that penalty came their way. James Green, there could be another penalty here. No, referee keeps the whistle in his pocket.
Lost
as
it.
Greenwood goes forward and loses the ball on the second tackle. Look at Louis McCarthy-Scarisbrooke. Is he pumped for this or what?
Well, if you want to turn up the aggression, sets there, we'll go with that. There's a bit of a bump and grind in there, but the ball comes free, and James Greenwood, according to the referee, has lost the ball on the second play. It's been so long since Hull KR have been in that sort of position. Got ourselves into the final quarter though, on the home side just 6 points behind in the contest. Will have to be very, very strong here to somehow match in technique the defence when St Helens bring this ball at them.
Catalan against Leeds is live on Sky Sports 2 again tomorrow afternoon at 5:05. The Dragons and the Leeds, the bottom two in the First Utility Super League table at the moment. Saints on the back of this possession, trying to get the ball again up the other end of the field. Walmsley tries to bash through the first tackler. Oh, and Thornley comes in, and they all then wait and they push him back. Mitch Allgood's doing good job there, good work.
Well, it was Adam Walker who made the initial contact. He's back on the field. And I'll tell you what, whenever a team push Alex Walmsley back, that must be a lift. The ball's free, and they've turned it over.
Yes, the ball is turned over. Aggressive defence from Hull KR. Walker again is causing the damage with Allgood.
Well, they've decided, haven't they, now they're going to go with them. They won't die wondering in this final quarter. They've been almost battered and bruised by the Saints for the last 10-15 minutes. It's their turn to dish out some pain.
Yeah, they're going to have to bludgeon their way over, Phil, aren't they? They're going to have to run this ball over the line. It's going to be hard to see them put together too many intricate passing plays. Will cause St. Helens trouble. I could be wrong. I think they'll need somebody to drop off and somebody to run harder than they've done before.
And that's good defence from the Saints. Shaw took it forward. Their last win in Super League, 34-28 against Salford here last June. They've waited a long time to cheer something. The Rovers fans have been patient. He's lost the ball, knock on.
There's a question about whether the markers were square there. When he shoots off, were all the players onside? Well, nobody was penalised for being offside.
Well, I think the markers that weren't square just stay out of the play.
Well, how does Dawson get there that quickly? It seems impossible.
Well, he comes back from the defensive line, he comes forward, so I think he was okay. But he loses the ball into Luke Walsh, and that's why the knock-on's being given.
So another mistake, and it is now Saints with the head and feet at this scrum. Time running out for Hull KR. We're entering the last quarter of an hour of the match. Can't keep making the errors. Swift trying to get away. Roby looks for Walmsley. Walmsley goes down, gets to his feet, plays it to Roby again. It's Jordan Turner, Atelebe. Bay gets them over halfway. Allgood put a good shift in tonight as Mitch Allgood. Roby, that's a test of the ribs. That tackled by Maurice Blair. Peru, Walsh, Walmsley. Four men harass him down, inching closer, but this is the last tackle. And Walsh will hoist it high. Makinson palms it down and brilliantly into the arms of Vey. Atelebe scores for St. Helens. Great work in the air once again by Tommy Makinson. Clutched one out of the air in the first half, scored himself. This time up in the air, two hands to the ball, palmed it down. There was a phalanx of St. Helens attackers there waiting to take control of the football. It arrived at the hands of Atelebe, and Atelebe goes over for perhaps a very telling score.
Well, he and his teammates might consider themselves a little bit lucky here because they got possession, but I think Dawson's offside there. The referee doesn't see it on the left. He's the first man then to tackle Lawler, and then the ball's lost shortly after that. But that's a very lucky call for the Saints. They got away with that. Again, the high kick goes up, and as you said, Eddie, they react brilliantly this time. And Makinson up off the floor, taps it back in, volleyball style, and Atelebe just brings the ball closer to the goalpost. Tries from kicks, very hard to defend, too hard for Hull KR tonight. That's an area they'll have to work on with Willie Poaching this week. But I think that now might just put some comfort in the St. Helens supporters. It could be 2 points going home with them tonight.
Yes, it could be, and a big 2 points for Saints as well. And of course, if that is the case, the agony continues for Hull Kingston Rovers. 100% in the middle eights last year they were to preserve their Super League status. Their Super League form, though, has been a little bit erratic. Paul Wellens would be pleased the way things have gone in this second half. Not won yet in 2016, chasing the first Super League win. Hull KR in 8 attempts tonight, and that task has become even tougher now, courtesy of Walsh's conversion.
They might draw comfort from the fact, Phil, that they will probably get 2 Super League points, but the performance will not comfort any St. Helens fans. And I suggest that the coaching staff of St. Helens won't be too pleased with it either.
Important thing, though, is a win, isn't it, Barry? Yeah, Brian.
Yeah, a win is a win, Eddie, but you need to perform well. They haven't now performed well, I think, in 3 games. First game against Huddersfield, yes, they were very good. But then Salford, Roosters, and here today, they have not been as good as we'd expect.
Okay, well, Saints with a 12-point advantage here. What's happening at Warrington, Barry?
Well, the final whistle has just gone, but not before Johnny Malloy, the hard-working second rower from Wakefield, gets over for the last try of the game. Fairly comprehensive from the Warrington Wolves. My word, they look a team. A little bit sloppy, scrappy, but that scoreline is much healthier than it was 12 minutes ago when Wakefield lost 80 points to 0.
So another win for the Warrington Wolves tonight. Will it be a win for St Helens, or can Hull Kingston Rovers rescue this in the first match under the control of caretaker coach Willie Poaching? We shall see as Ben Cockayne picks up that kick downfield.
The biggest difference seems, watching here, St Helens in the second half, that the kicks to trap the opponents in the goal line or force them into corners like we've just seen from there can't all be just about kicking the ball, but they really control where this match has been played in the second 40, and I suppose been very aggressive with their attack and defence when they've carried the ball and had to hit men carrying it at them.
Graham Horn with the looping pass. Ben Tills plucks it out of the air, as you would expect from a man that stands 6 foot 6 inches tall. Here comes Walker again. He gets the ball away. Solid defence, though. Very well read that by Makinson. There's no way that Rovers were going to go forward then with Ian Thornley. So the kick from Maurice Blair straight into the arms of Adam Swift. And Stephen Holker gets to him with the tackle. It's now with Makinson. 11 minutes remaining in the match here. St Helens on the way perhaps to a very rare victory in this part of the world. They don't particularly like coming to Hull Kingston Rovers in the recent past. Roby! Good run from Roby. Walsh. Turner. And he gets it to Dominic Peyrou. He was under pressure as well. He was hit a little late there, was Jordan Turner. He's gone down. Roby, they've reached the 5th tackle. Expect the kick, and up it goes again from the boot of Walsh, looking for Makinson once more. Oh! And Cockayne nearly lost it. And well, I tell you what, they've taken some chances, haven't they, in their own in-goal area tonight. That's the second time Cockayne has flung the ball in to a colleague.
Well, Luke Walsh is appreciative of the fact that his team are just rolling forward. He gets a quick play of the ball. He's not under too much pressure. He's able to pick and choose where he wants to kick the ball, high or low. And this one really is just another one. 10 minutes to go. They've really suffocated their opponents by trapping them in this part of the pitch.
10 minutes to go, Phil. They've scored 18 second half points so far, St Helens. They look like they'll get the 2 competition points. They're playing against a team with Maurice Blair and Graham Horn in the house, with all due respect to those two as ball players. What's your thoughts been on St Helens' performance?
Not that good, but if you win at this point in the season away from home, that might be good enough. Attempt his short kick-off, but it's got to go 10 metres and it doesn't, so this will be a penalty to St Helens. And it's just, again, the fact that they're at this part of the field. Hull KR had to try something to get the ball back with 10 to go. Just the execution of that kick not good enough, and it looks like it'll be 2 more points with this penalty converted.
Well, they've had trouble with the goal line dropouts and defending the goal line dropouts, Hull Kingston Rovers, all night. That was the 4th they've forced, St Helens. The 4th that Hull Kingston Rovers have taken. That's probably the worst. Didn't go the 10. Penalty bang in front of the sticks. Another 2 points on offer here. You can see what was at the heart of the thought. It just wasn't quite executed properly, and there is a lot of work for Willie Poaching to do.
One of Hull KR's biggest problems is the fact that they're playing without a hooker, and I say that with a massive amount of respect and admiration for George Lawler, who's made 40 tackles tonight and been very good in the games he's played for them. But to ask to play the full game at this point in his career, don't forget they're without Sean Lunt, they're without John Budebza, who some might say controversially was suspended for 4 games, and Albert Gelly left the field at half-time. Obviously the main attacking threat really in this match, so in the circumstances it's not a surprise that they haven't scored any points in the second half, although a massive disappointment, I suppose, for the fans.
Yes, there was 16-14 up at half-time. 16-10 up, I beg your pardon, at half-time. And then Dawson, Wilkin, Vey and the reliable kicking of Walsh have given us this situation now as we approach the last 10... Well, we're in the last 10 minutes of the game, and St Helens are at 14 points to the good, and you cannot see Rovers coming back into this. They've got an awful injury problem. They haven't seen Terry Campese again this year. Hardly saw him last year, to be fair. He was in fine form before he got injured.
Kevin Laroyer,
Djongo
Debs.
Yes.
And there will be some of the other teams will have injuries and say, well, we have injuries and you never mentioned it. When you've got a squad as thin as Hull Kingston Rovers squad, they might get something to cheer about here.
Rumble heard he was going over for one.
Pulling back St Helens scrum.
St Helens scrum, indeed.
I think it's when the ball came out. I think it's come out forward when the ball was pulled out. Well, it's offside, isn't it? He's kicked it against his own player and then picked it up in front of him. So he's given the benefit of the doubt and said it's accidentally offside, but there is an offside infringement there.
Point about the absentees, Eddie, is that they will have a large chunk of their salary cap sitting in the stands unavailable to them. Lunt, Campese, Kelly, you would think they would be taking up a large portion.
And the players who have a significant say on how a team play, aren't they? So I think that the fact that the rest of the team have given 100% effort is heartening. They now just need some direction and leadership, don't they, with those creative players back on the pitch.
Well, Budebza has got another week of his 4-match ban to go, controversially banned for 4 weeks, according to the Hull KR chairman Neil Hudgell and others. And, you know, all that, those injuries and the problems, they didn't do Chris Chester any favours, did they? They really didn't. That's why they've had this horror start to the campaign. 1 point from the opening day win against Castleford. That's all they've got to show thus far. Another high kick. Oh, that's fielded brilliantly this time by Ryan Shaw.
And he gets a penalty. You know, they've not had a lot of fun with kicks in the second half. They've either trapped them in goal or forced them under pressure, conceded tries. Here's one that's gone their way here. Tackled in the air. Is that the penalty, Stuart?
That's it. Perry just got some contact on him. Referee waited to see if there's any advantage if he was going to go the full length and brings it back to give the penalty.
Tilts then. Credit Rovers, even though time is now running out and it appears ever more obvious that they're going to suffer another defeat. They are not giving this away just yet, despite all the adversity. Bit of spirit in this camp, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, there is. It's a fighting spirit, but it's not going to get them anything here. Adam Walker passes it again. They look trying to find what they did in the first half, but it's not got the threat. And Saints far more confident, working in unison now in defence.
Thornley was the dummy half. He finds Maurice Blair and he gets it away to Allgood. 2 star names there, Maurice Blair and Mitch Allgood, of course. Walker gets it away to Horn, and Horn hoists it high. Bounces forward, I think it was. Liam Salter just couldn't take it in.
It's hit and hope, isn't it, now in the almost last 5 minutes. At the last player, they put it up in the air, hope some players get under it. Sloppy end here now to a spirited performance.
Yes, you can't fault the effort, can you? You cannot fault the effort of Hull Kingston Rovers, but not enough tonight. Full time. Stuart Cummings will be on Twitter at Sky Sports RL, hashtag AskSkyRL. Wonder what they'll be talking to you about tonight, Stuart. The decisions, maybe 1 or 2 decisions. Hull Kingston Rovers fans maybe not happy. They haven't had the rub of the green. Who knows?
There's a bit to talk about in the game tonight, I think, so bring them on.
You're happy to exchange views. Good stuff. Inside the last 5. St Helens going home with a very welcome 2 points tonight. This is a much needed pickup. Remember, the last 2 weeks, 10-44 at Salford, 12-38 against the Roosters last week. Would you say they're back on the horse, Phil? By the sound of things, you and Brian not that impressed with the performance, although you can only, if you can win like this, 30 points to 16 when you're not playing 100%, augurs well, doesn't it?
I'm probably more impressed than Brian was really with them, but I think the second half's been good. I can understand Brian's disappointment. He thinks really that they should be able to put an 80-minute performance. We've seen it very good in the second 40, but really from their standards and expectations, you'd expect to see that in the first half and the second half. in which case they'd have probably been too strong for Hull KR. But I bet the Rovers fans, when they walk home from this ground, cast their mind back to the Ryan Shaw try that was disallowed in the first half. It was a call that, even had you watched it 10 times, could have gone either way, but it went against them. The referee said no try. We're back his initial call. It was one that I suppose Rovers needed here tonight to have a better chance of winning.
Yeah, that could have been a real game changer, couldn't it, when you look back on this match? It really could. But it wasn't to be, and luck doesn't particularly go for you when things aren't running your way. That was a horrible pass that went forward. Peru accepts the gift for the Saints. Are they going to finish with a flourish? St Helens, Atelier to within 30 metres of the Hull KR line. Roby finds Amor, and Amor trundles the ball forward another 10 metres before he goes down. Bang in front of the sticks, plays it to Roby again. Walsh on an angled run finds Turner. Turner then gets the ball back inside to Shannon McDonnell. Inching ever closer to those posts. Roby, Walsh again, drop goal from Walsh. That just rubs salt in the wounds, doesn't it?
I think it underlines the control they've got on this second half. They can do virtually anything they want because they're rolling forward. They've put that play on where they've switched the ball around the play of the ball and given the ball back to McDonald to come down the middle. And Hull KR's defence has been up to it, but they're basically drained out there now. And it was just, I think, a matter of taking out some time here, putting that 1 point over, and rolling back here now to receive another kick-off. But again, very impressed here. Hull KR, they want to restart this game as quickly as possible. They're 21 points behind. Sorry, they're more than that. I'll get my maths right in a second. But they want to go on again here. 15. I was looking the wrong way.
Not usually I get the figures right, let me tell you. But anyway, they are 15 behind. And the Hull KR supporters, far side of the field, when Walsh celebrated that 1 pointer, they just chanted boring, boring. They wanted tries, but not necessarily from St Helens, I would have thought.
I think they accept that the team have tried the best, and that's all that I think any supporter wants at the end of the day.
They're a loyal lot, aren't they, the Hull KR fans?
Yeah, very disappointed last week, but I think happy with the commitment today. As you see, the metres that St Helens make now, after the initial contact where the defenders hit him, he's probably made about 4 or 5 metres after that, Andrea Cervello. They're just far stronger here now in the second half.
Oh, Televey just slips the net. He has Tommy Makinson with him. Televey hangs on and goes inside. And that drew the tackle from George Lawler. Peru is waiting as Vey gets to his feet. Are not finished yet, the Saints. Walsh gets it wide. Wilkin dabs it over the top into the arms, though, of Ben Cockayne. He's been impressive tonight, Cockayne. 1 or 2 little errors, but nothing much to write home about. He's been okay as Ben Cockayne.
You know what? Here's a big challenge there for Hull KR. We'd expect them, wouldn't they, to play well this week. They've just sacked the coach and there's a big lift. They're at home on television and the crowd are demanding better. It's doing it again next week. That's the hard one, I think, for them here. Doing it the second week and the third week after a change of coach. Okay, they've had an emotional uplift here. They've given a massive effort in this match, but they've not got through as Rob Mahone skirts down the middle.
Oh, it's a great run. Tremendous run. They're all after him now in blue jerseys. He goes down. Roby's just hanging on while the defence gets set, or more set. They come left then with Blair. Blair then to Thornley, and Thornley gets it away, and they get some reward. And that young man who was denied Ryan Shaw by the video referee in the first half gets his reward here. He's kicked a couple of goals, and now he's got his first Super League try of the year. Ryan Shaw, and it gives the Rovers supporters something to cheer about, and well done to them. They've gone right the way through to the final siren.
I agree, Eddie. You know, it's a great run by Rob Mulhern. Squad across here from Leeds, one of the signings in the off-season, and he's made a big impact. 2 big runs through in the second half. But when they get trapped, this is what impresses me, and I think will put a smile on the Rovers supporters. Ian Thornley's work as a centre, that's very classic. He's committed 3 defenders there. Footwork beats the first, and the offload beats the second and third. He lays it on the plate for his winger, and Ryan Shaw gratefully receives it. It won't affect the outcome of this game, but it is something for them to build on.
Yes, and respectability is what it's all about as well. If he kicks this, give him something to smile about on the way home tonight, and in preparation for his birthday celebrations tomorrow. He's 25. And it is a respectable scoreline anyway, 11 points. And it's actually even more respectable, 9 points, because that's what it is. 22 to Hull KR, 31 to St Helens. St Helens get back on track, as Kieran Cunningham wanted them to do. As far as Hull KR are concerned, they've made the big change of the season so far, sacking Chris Chester, bringing in Willie Poaching as caretaker coach. Where will the search take them for the new man on a permanent basis? Will it be Poaching? Will it be Steve McNamara, who has been rumoured? The England coach is out of a job. People like Dave Ferner in Australia, they're being mentioned and linked. Paul Rowley from Lee. Whoever they get has got a decent squad of players to work with when they get the big stars fit as well.
Yes, they have, and I guess the challenge is to develop some more of their own players. George Lawler did very well tonight, didn't he? A young local player who's developed through the club. They need to do more of that. I don't doubt that they've tried for the last decade, but they've not been as successful as other sides in doing it. Producing their own players has to be the key for the long-term viability of Hull KR and the success of the club when they do receive injuries. They've got a 27-man squad, but making it a stronger one is the key.
Jamie Peacock, Director of Football, of course, here. Meanwhile, the first utility man of the match, there he is, Tommy Makinson, the St Helens winger. He's talking with Angela.
Tommy Makinson, a bottle of champagne, something to celebrate at last after a couple of barren weeks.
Yeah, it's been a tough couple of weeks, but, you know, the boys tonight was outstanding. I thought our forwards were brilliant and give us that platform for us backs finally, you know, build on something. And, you know, it's a great win. Like, there's been a lot of talk. We've not won here for a long, long time, and that'll be sweet tonight. That was a great second half, wasn't it, for them just to score one at the very end there? They're a dangerous side, okay. They're sensational. They move the ball around. You saw it then, the centres and wingers and, you know, Benker Kane at fullbacks and off a good pack. They're so dangerous and it's pretty tough to defend against. And, you know, to keep them to one try at second half, like I said, it's a credit to our boys. What did you find in that second half? What made the difference? I just think, you know, we rammed it up. You know, our forwards got all the ball and took it forward. You know, I think these are low on troops and, you know, we need to get a bit tired and, you know, our forwards just played through them in the end, but credit to them, they're a sensational side, and you know, when they've got a few players back, they'll be contenders definitely. Congratulations, Tommy. Thank you. Cheers, thank you.
Congratulations to Tommy Makinson and St Helens. James Roby introduced in the second half to help boost the side that did trail after the first 40 minutes. They're not the greatest Super League game we'll ever see. Certainly not as free-flowing as the game last night, just across the city at the KC Stadium. What for you was the difference in the end? I know they outscored them 5 tries to 4 St Helens, but personnel-wise, who made the difference?
Well, yeah, we always try and look for a game break and try and distill it down. It wasn't there, I don't think, this evening. I asked myself the question, who took the most out of this game? And I'm debating still whether... I know Tommy Makinson's point there. It's a valid point, saying to restrict them to 1 score in the second half and that on the 79th minute is an achievement. But I think
Saints scored as many tries in the second half as Hull Kingston Rovers did in the first.
I think Hull KR are the side perhaps who emerged with that with more credit, bizarrely having lost. But the game breaker for me is the combination between Luke Walsh and Tommy Makinson, a kicker of some note, of some accuracy, of some precision. And a man who's got ability, we showed this at half-time, I make no apologies for showing it again, of getting over your opposite number and making the very most of it. That was important, that try you've just seen, because that took them level at 10 apiece on 26 minutes, at a time in the game when Hull KR looked like they were in the ascendancy. That put a full stop to that.
And it also put a big target on the head of Ryan Shaw, who caught a marvellous kick over his head at the end, but Luke Walsh was always going to go back to that place because he had joy.
Oh, don't worry, Ryan Shaw, you're playing against one of the best there aerially and one of the best finishers in the game. Here's the second example. This on 65 minutes, this took them 12 points clear. So if you're looking for a point at which St Helens stretched their legs and opened the gap that wasn't ever to be recovered, that was the moment. But for me, the game breaker, if there is one, that combination. There are plenty of ifs and buts and question marks about Saints' performance again, even in victory tonight. They were 2 high points.
Well, you can hear from one of their senior players. He'll be down at the touch screen with you, John, just after a very short break. John Wilkin, burst lip and everything, and victory, I suppose, and 2 competition points under his belt. He'll be down at the touch screen with John, take you through that 80-minute performance from St Helens. You get an idea of just how impressed he was with his side's victory here tonight.
Well, coming up in a few moments' time, we have John Wilkin with John Wells, but I want to just to tell you that Sky Sports News at 10 is on the air now on Sky Sports News HQ, and we have all the reaction to the news that Gianni Infantino has been elected as the new FIFA president. They also have the thoughts of Jurgen Klopp, because Liverpool have been drawn against Manchester United in the last 16 of the Europa League. That is right now available for you on Sky Sports News HQ. Here, John Wilkin and John Wells will be looking back on this match that Hull Kingston Rovers gave. Well, they gave them a fight, but in the end, the fight just wasn't quite enough. St Helens have won by 31 points to 22. And elsewhere tonight, the other score, Warrington have beaten Wakefield by 34 points to 16. Quite a comprehensive win, maybe a little bit better than the scoreline suggests. But first of all, we're going to hear from the two coaches of the clubs here. Kieran Cunningham and also Willie Poaching, the caretaker coach of the Hull Kingston Rovers side.
Kieran, you did ask for the energy battle to be won in the second half, and they did. That was a fantastic frantic. And what you were looking for, really?
Yeah, it was. I thought we really grew into the game. You know, I thought as the game went on and we had a good talk at half time, we really grew into that game in the second half. And credit to Hull, I thought they really came out fighting. You know, the change of coach, change of personnel, I thought they came out fighting, and you know, all credit to them boys. I just thought we just got better and better as the game went, so I'm happy with the players, and I really think we deserve this. You know, we've worked really hard.
You really were hoping that they were going to bring that energy battle to Hull KR this second half. What else do you think they brought to this? Because you had Roby on as well in the second half, which made a difference.
Well, he does. James Roby's one of the best nines in the world, and I think the way the systems that we play now and having that many subs in the second half, it really helped. You know, we brought Big Al and Kyle and Robes all on at the same time, and I thought that changed, you know, the influence of the game a little bit. You know, it sent us forward a little bit, but I'm really happy with my team. You know, I think there's been a lot of disappointing things said about Super League this week from certain individuals, and you know, it's quite hurtful for us as coaches and all the players as well. And you know, I think we've got a great competition here. You know, we should be proud of what we've done, and we should all be flying the flag. And you know, I'm really proud of what my players have done. They've come across here, and this can be a bit of a bogey ground. I think it's 2007 since we last won here. You know, I think I might have had my boots on myself when we won here last, but you know, it's a tough place to come, and coming off the back of coach change and all those things and what's gone on, so I'm happy with us.
Thanks very much, Kieran.
Thank you very much.
We've got Willie Poaching here now. Willie, acting coach. Unfortunately, you didn't get the win, but you've got to see a lot of positives, especially in that first half.
I saw a lot of spirit. Still a lot of spirit, and there was an 80-minute performance. We just found it tough going in the second half when they had all the ball, and full credit to Saints. And you know, the teams like that, you can't allow them to have that much possession, and you know, it took its toll on us at the end of the day. And you know, we gave them opportunities that, you know, they pounced on fully. And you know, but full credit to our boys too. They really rolled their sleeves up, and the effort was there. We just lacked some smarts at times, and the first half was fantastic, and they were really confident. We just maybe it was losing a recognised halfback that cost us, but we lost some direction there sometimes, and the game plan sort of went wayward. But yeah, some good signs in the main.
When you had to defend 3 dropouts as well in the second half there, the energy battle is going to get you in the end. Yeah,
there were some people running low on petrol, and we had to be wise with our substitutions. And you know, we asked some big questions from some of our big fellas, and I'm proud of them, and they all can be proud of themselves, more importantly.
Thanks for talking to us, Willie.
Cheers, thank you.
So Willie Poaching, he knows he's got a big job on his hands, but he does have things to work with. And I just wonder what might have happened had the Ryan Shaw try been allowed over in the far corner in the second half. I'm sure that will be a talking point, and I bet it's a talking point now because JW is with JW. John Wells has got John Wilkin with him. I've never seen the boyish good looks of Wilkin looking so battered and bruised. That lip looks horrible, John.
Thanks, Eddie.
Very good, Eddie. They say there's nothing like a good game of rugby league, and that was nothing like a good game of rugby league. This man won't care, though. Sore lip aside, which we'll come to in a minute. Congratulations on the win. First time St Helens have come here and got the 2 points since 2007 in Super League, 2008 in the Challenge Cup. So that must mean something to you at least.
Yeah, I think so. I think history and sort of the media talk before the game was about how we couldn't come here and win and how we've struggled to do that. So I think off the back of 2 poor performances, you know, in the World Club Series and also in Super League against Salford, we needed to come here and produce a performance. You know, the added factor that we haven't won here for such a long time was a complication, but we came here with a great attitude, and although the game was ugly, I think, as you'd admit, it was nowhere near the quality or standard of last night's game. We were effective at the right points, and I think Willie Poaching was really smart to say the difference ultimately can be somebody on the ball who's smart enough to control a game. They lost Albert Kelly. On the flip side to that, we had Luke Walsh, and who's a recognised halfback who, you know, as we're going to probably talk about, controlled things and organised very well.
We are going to talk about. I'm going to ask you first about Aberlip. How are you doing?
I'm trying to make as much sense as possible. My sort of Yorkshire drawl with a fat lip's not really helping.
It's the closer you get, the more ugly it is. But he heals well, I'm told. Right, well, we'll start with Luke Walsh then, because I want to ask you. You played in the halves with him.
Yeah.
What does he bring to the team?
Well, I think when you're a recognised halfback, look, you've got some functions in the team. One of the major things is kicking the ball. We see Luke Walsh here choosing the right moment to kick the ball.
Second tackle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, that's the instinctive play of a halfback. Not only that, Luke organises play as well, but choosing when to kick is almost as important as anything else. Another function that a halfback can play in your team. Organising, yes. Talking, yes. Being a leader, yes. But ultimately, if you're in charge of kicking the ball, the timing of that kick, you'd know yourself as a winger, picking off. When a winger's up, kicking behind, kicking long and early, which Luke Walsh is naturally good at doing.
So he sees all that. And
look, we study the back three. The wingers and the fullback are connected, aren't they? And they move. And Luke Walsh is a master at deciding when to kick the ball. And Huddersfield first round, he kicked Huddersfield to death. And I thought he did that again tonight, really.
This was the Makinson try. This took you level. This was significant. This was part that you can see Luke, he's already organised, and he's passed that, relayed that message on to Tommy Makinson.
And again, a natural instinctive play for pause it back there. What we see is Luke Walsh here probably has 3 or 4 options, really. So a naive halfback here may well try and force a pass. We've got 2 bigger guys set up out here.
So I'll highlight these for you.
Yeah.
So presumably these are line runners,
exactly. So what we're trying to do here is isolate the centre and the opposite side. We'll put 2 big guys around him. And what Luke Walsh is doing here is he's either trying to isolate the centre with 2 big runners like this, but a naive halfback, what I'd say here, would play the pass, get tackled maybe on the last play. Luke Walsh sees the centre, he's quite aggressive, understanding that he's got 2 big guys coming at him. Luke Walsh chooses to put the ball in the corner when we've got a great kick catcher in Tommy Makinson, who's just out of shot here. And Tommy Makinson ultimately is one of the best kick catchers. He
proved it tonight, didn't he? He was outstanding.
This skill now is just a fundamental part of rugby league. If you're a winger and you can't do that, you're really not going to be playing at one of the top clubs. We've got other players. I thought the Roosters, we look at them, their 2 wingers are insane at doing it. The NRL are fantastic at it, and we're certainly not far behind.
So in summary then, to finish on Luke Walsh, we've spoken about Makinson. Almost that ability or the nerve to make the more difficult decision. You were saying about it's a good point you make about a naive halfback, a less experienced halfback would choose the so-called easier option to go with that. And by the way, you've got the backup there of knowing that you've got somebody who's going to give you out is massive for you.
Of course, yeah. No, he's a really skilled player at look, selecting a pass, kick, is the halfback's responsibility. And I can tell you from experience playing halfback in Super League, it was never really my strength. Having Luke there to do that takes so much pressure off myself, James Roby. We just want to play.
So you go in 16-10 down. What was Kieran's chat at half time?
I'd like to tell you really what he said, but I was getting my lip stitched, and so I had 2 doctors stitching my lip up. So. But I'm going to take a wild stab at what
could you imagine he would have said? Yeah.
Well, I said I think that we're almost toying with Hull KR. I thought if we ever put periods of play together where we controlled possession, controlled field position, Luke Walsh kicked early. Whenever we did that, I thought we looked really in control of the game. That being said, penalties play a huge part in the modern game. We got a couple of penalties, got us rolling in the second half, and ultimately we got some field position and scored some points.
It looked to me, both tonight and in 2016 so far, the attack hasn't quite clicked yet. Yeah. What do you put that down to? You've got the ingredients there. There's yourself as Luke Walsh, who we've already spoken about, Travis Burns, Theo Farge, Jordan Turner. What is it there that's not clicked for you?
Well, I think that the fact you've named 4 or 5 players that have played in the halves. We've played 2 fullbacks. We've had 4 players play a standoff. We've had Luke Walsh, who's been consistent. James Roby's been injured. I think any team in Super League or in World Rugby, you mix the core of your team up enough. combinations take time and take time to develop. And look, you know, you look at some of the most successful sides in Super League. I look at, say, Wigan and Leeds, who've really been quite consistent through the spine of their team. You know, Wigan have McLaurin, O'Loughlin, they had Sam Tompkins, they had Brett Finch when they were, you know, at their peak.
So is this a period where you're actually trying, you're trialling different?
Well, yeah, no, I think, look, naturally, because of the injuries in the modern game, John, you have to be adaptable. We've got a number of players who can adapt and play a number of positions, but being scratchy in February is fine. Being scratchy in September, October is a different story, as we know.
Right, okay, we're running short of time, so I'm going to take you to the denouement for me. Your try. But we take you back 2 plays. I want you just to show me, because there's the play here that we'd picked up that was replicated at Headingley last year, and Quinlan replaced by this man, McDonald, who went through untouched.
Yeah.
Just briefly, just explain to me what you're trying to do with this play.
Before we roll it on, for starters, if we look at the late retreat here from Hull KR, you know, this guy here coming out with the tackle, you know, look, we're trying to isolate tired defenders who maybe are just relaxed, maybe take the wrong option. I think Willie Pochin alluded to it in his interview. They had some big guys who were tired. Now this play is designed to attack those big guys. Luke Walsh sets up with Jordan Turner, and we're trying to attack these bigger guys who are coming and turning slowly. And the space here you can see is this space here.
So it's this dead area behind the ruck here that we talk about.
Naturally what you get is a bigger man who's tired. You get marker defenders who are quite aggressive because they know that Luke Walsh is a threat. We get a big guy who's turned the corner, and naturally this space becomes big, and that's where we're attacking. Jordan Turner, as you'll see, he'll drive to this guy, and we try and play an inside ball to isolate this space, really. As I remember, I don't think we quite executed it.
It doesn't quite come off, no. I mean, they just managed an arm.
But look, these kinds of players get the ruck speed improved, and then the plays off the back of it are more effective.
Well, that's exactly what you're seeing here. I mean, it's a good commentary you give, because that's exactly what you see. What are you calling here, just briefly?
Look, when you're on a field, you have, I think, 4 or 5 different options you could do at any one time. Luke Walsh is screaming for the ball. He probably anticipated that Hull KR was short on their left edge. What I saw here was I had a big man in front of me. I know that if he runs into this space here, look, Graham Horn, or I think whoever the foreign defender Greenwood is going to be interested. At that point then, I'm looking and thinking a bigger, less mobile man, and I'll attack his inside shoulder. I'll be honest, look, you know, it was a pretty scrappy game, it was a pretty scrappy try. You know, I'm not going to win any awards. I don't think it's going to get try of the month off Phil Clark, is it?
But you you pick up the 2 points. It's Castleford at home next week. I wish you all the very best of luck for that. Congratulations, and thank you very much for joining us, John Wilkin.
Cheers, Wolsey. All right, man.
And back to you.
Well said, John. Well done, John Wilkin. Did you hear that? He had his lips stitched at half-time. He came back out and played 40 minutes in the second half. They are big, they are brave, they are heroic. Not talking about this fellow, Barry McDermott, but you were in your day. No doubt about that. Let's talk about the other game that we have featured here on Sky Sports tonight. You've been watching it for us. Warrington against Wakefield. Now, we've heard in the last 10 minutes or so, Kurt Gidley has picked up an injury in this match. He might not be available for Thursday in the game against Salford.
Well, that's a disaster for the Warrington Wolves, because every time they were dominant in this game, it was on the back of work that Darryl Clark were doing. Chris Sandow, you see the number 7, beautiful ball that he passes to Kevin Penny, who gets the second try. Ben Curry with the first try. And if Gidley misses that Thursday match with Salford, of course, then the question arises, as it has so many times, who's going to be in the halves? Craig Hall got over for their first try, making the score 12 points to 6. 2 tries, further tries from Warrington ensued. Sandow to that man Gidley again. He returned the favour just shortly after that. Chris Sandow taking the score 24 points to 6. Lovely little chip and chase.
Great try, that.
Yeah, lovely. Plenty of workmen, plenty of tradesmen in the Wakefield ranks. Not enough finesse, not enough craftsmen. But I'm looking forward to seeing that man find his feet in Super League. Anthony Tupou got a lovely offload and a dynamic runner of the ball. But here's your man, Kurt Gidley. Sets up the try for his half-back partner.
He's the key, Gidley, isn't he?
Without a doubt, without a doubt.
The key.
And what he does is he just settles everything. You saw, and as the game was progressing, you saw the high kicks, the low kicks, the short kicks, the long kicks, all going through Gidley. And when Kurt Gidley had his hand on the ball, and when he was ready, there's the injury, he goes down. You see Michael Seo he probably is concerned by another fellow professional down and staying down. And yeah, sad sight if you're a Warrington fan. 10,600 fans, Eddie, so
good crowd.
People coming to watch and support what is a great team. A sloppy try if you're a Warrington fan to finish the game, but I think a creditable performance for the Wolves.
Yeah, creditable performance for the Wolves. Wakefield, though, the agony for them goes on, as it does for Hull Kingston Rovers. Hull KR have got just the 1 point, of course. Wakefield with the 2 points from their win. The points difference, though, look, it's mounting against Wakefield, even though they are sitting currently 8th in the table. And Warrington hit the top on points difference now. They've overtaken the Wigan Warriors. Castleford in 3rd. Widnes, they will play on Sunday. Well, it's all building up, even though we're very, very quickly into the new season. We've seen these 2 games tonight then. Tomorrow, Catalan and Leeds. Now then.
Well, they're up against it, the Rhinos, aren't they? They've not played well for a number of weeks. They go there a busted side, but that club is built on coping and dealing with adversity. They're certainly up against it. The last time the Catalan Dragons played at home, let's not forget, they played Hull FC and they were humbled and they were booed off the pitch. So Laurent Fresinu has got to build his players up, build his team up. And yeah, a fascinating game. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, fascinating game indeed. The Catalan Dragons against Leeds. That is the next assignment we've got for you, live here on Sky Sports. There it is, confirmation, 4:55 tomorrow on Sky Sports 2. Well, we have had the weekend in Hull, or at least Thursday and Friday in Hull. We had a classic last night, and we have seen a dogged performance from Rovers today. It's all finished. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Great ball inside, and here comes the first try from Shannon McDonnell. Takes up into the goal area, Kelly attacked the line, gets a good pass away to Dane Tills, and a great return. Men on the overlap wide. Here is a try from Maurice Blair. Walsh to the corner, looking for Makinson, finding Makinson. So that's nicely picked up. That's a beautiful try. Dawson will get over. John Wilkin, and Wilkin goes over for the try. Posted high. Makinson palmed it down and brilliantly into the arms of Bay. St Helens get back on track as Kieran Cunningham wanted them to do.
Can't put out this flame. Enjoy Sky Sports Live on all screens, on the go,